Hello, imbecile.
Hello.
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 Hello. Hello. Chicken nugget. Hello, everybody.
All rise and like, subscribe, and bang the gavel, baby.
Gavel has been banged, as they say.
Bang it on, get it on,
Proper
get it
English.
on.
I don't know. Hi, Bigfoot. Yes, Judge E. Lanice Bryant at the 36th District Court is a great one.
I went straight there. There was one thing they had left, and it went off. So we missed that one.
It's funny. I have problems catching her, and I don't know why.
That you're in Gleason. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now that's not proof you're
we
in
got a
Gleason.
case.
That's
Chasing
saying
the
I
case
made an
5
appointment
days a
with
week. We
Gleason.
started at 1
I need to
o'clock.
know you're in.
We're here with
Okay? All right. All the best.
Big
Continue to
B
do everything
is
we ask.
Thank you.
All the best to you, Ms. Avalos.
Thank you.
Okay?
She has been on people as they've come in.
Okay, so this is going to be
one
proof
after
of
the
enrollment
other.
in Gleason. All righty, and then
live
Amanda Wilson.
courtroom
Come on, Ms.
drama
Wilson.
unfolding in front of our very eyes. We'll try to be quiet.
Do you have
I
a
think
case
Miss
on,
Wilson's
sir?
probably the end of her day, but I've got a
Okay, I'll
doozy
get his name
for
in a
us, so don't
moment then.
worry.
Okay, hello, Ms. Wilson.
Hello.
Let me see. I saw you come in.
Raiders!
But you are here now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see where we are. Did you receive a copy of the complaint?
Yes, I did.
Okay. The district attorney has alleged that on or about, no, it's the wrong calendar. Just a moment.
Alleged.
I like that flusher.
On or about November the 16th of last year, you illegally possessed a controlled substance in violation of 11377A of the Health and Safety Code, that being methamphetamine. It is a misdemeanor criminal charge. Is your name Amanda
Raiders
Carol
fans like
Wilson?
math. Got it. Okay.
Yes.
Well, are
we
you
weren't
sure?
using, we were only selling.
Yes.
Oh, why you say it like that?
To pay for parking outside our stadium.
Okay, but that is your name, Amanda Carol Wilson?
Yes.
All right, and is your date of birth January 15th, 1980?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Wilson, you have
This
the
judge
right
don't play
to
around.
attorney. You have the right to have an attorney. Can you afford one?
No.
All right, I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent your interests in this matter. And you have the right to a jury trial. It's your constitutional right. And you have the right to have that trial in the next 6 weeks. You can waive your right to have it within the next 6 weeks. And I'll bring you back in June.
That's a
And if
fancy
you wish
mask.
to have the trial quicker, I'll bring you back Tuesday. But if you waive your right to have the jury trial within 45 days, you're not waiving the right to the trial. You're just waiving the right to have the trial in the next 6 weeks. And you have more time.
Is it like
to
a
talk
double
to
mask? Like you got
Yeah,
the,
that's what I'm looking. It's like
one across the
doing,
like it,
etc. Do you
sectional
understand
pieces.
what I've just explained?
Yes.
No.
Do you waive your right to have a trial within 45 days so I can have you come back in June?
Yes.
Time is waived. I'm going to enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf. And I'm going to order that you come back on June the 15th
Why is
at
this
8:30.
person
And you're
so
going to go to
heavy
department
breathing?
number
Loud.
10.
You,
It's right
you
next
missed
door,
the last
right?
part of that.
Thank you.
Okay,
Rite of
I'm
passage
going to let you
for
remain out of
Raiders.
jail. Hold on, we're not quite through yet. You said
Uh-oh.
you'd come, you did. So I'm going to let you
Excuse
remain out of
me.
custody on your word and your promise that you'll return. Please do come back because, we've got some drug programs. One's a diversion program, which means if you do some drug counseling and some other things that they're asked, you may have
Very
this case
presumptuous,
dismissed. There's a
aren't we?
pretrial diversion. There's a Proposition 36, which is another drug court. There's an actual drug court. At least you may be eligible for all of these benefits, which could ultimately end up in the dismissal of the case. So make sure
Fine.
you return. And I'm going to order the following: be of good
rules.
conduct, obey all laws, return to court when ordered. Next is June 15th at 8:30 in department number 5. Excuse me, department number 10. It'll be in writing on your paperwork. And I'm
Hi.
ordering that you not possess or
Judge has a
use any
smoker's cough
controlled
like me.
substance at all, including methamphetamine. And you must not possess or have in
Especially
your custody or control
methamphetamine.
any
Hey, Jeanette.
use paraphernalia for methamphetamine or other controlled substances. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. do we have any drug program referrals here? Any locations?
It's almost like she
Okay,
caught herself
may I see
being
that for just
mean
a
and then
moment?
realized,
Yeah, she
May I
had
put
the
this
last two
on
people
the-
she was
I wanna give you
completely
some-
heartless to.
Just some one, maybe encouragement, if that's the word I
What's that on
want
the
to use.
judge's
Thank you,
thumb?
sir.
Is that rubber?
Okay.
that might be for paperwork.
Does the judge sustain a lot of paper cuts?
All the places, for the most part, like no. We would want the drug programs. It
No,
could
no,
be
no.
Gleason.
You think this girl's gonna be like, you know what? This judge has really turned me around. I'm gonna go straight to these places now.
Well, she does that. This is what I got up for us. I'm thinking meth, maybe Deanna. I don't know, and I can't get rid of the
Who
subtitle.
abruptly left the country?
Cell phone and internet access.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think this
just,
is our
thank
last
you,
person here.
Deputy.
So if you want to jump to yours, I
At
think
least it's
that
one of
might
the
have
locations
something.
that does provide drug services. I'm not sure
Because I got
exactly.
another
All
one I
right,
want to jump to.
let's see.
To be ready by that time. I did have an opportunity to review the orders that Mr. McDonald sent yesterday evening. Have no objection to the entry of those orders. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. All right, anything from CASA?
Casa mi casa.
McAvoy assigned CASA. I have no objection as to the circumstances for both attorneys to be able to meet with their clients and get
All right.
caught up on discovery.
Hi,
All right,
goes.
First of all, the answer to continued shelter care is yes. There's no objection and no basis to not sign the order. There's no change in circumstances that the court's been made aware of. So continuing shelter care is a yes. Exceptional circumstances outside 75 days for dependency trial, yes. That's due to the voluminous discovery, requests of continuances from parent counsel, given the
Creed, I hate
complicated nature
to
of this
interrupt
case and
this,
history,
but
as well
we
as
got Florida first
parents' prior
appearance.
case.
Do you have a
Bringing
car,
them in.
boat, plane, motorcycle?
No, sir.
Do you own any land or property in real estate?
No, sir.
Public defender is appointed to represent you. What ties do you have to Bay County? I show a Panama City
Hey,
address,
Bill.
a beach address, but also show a Tennessee ID.
Yes, sir. I just come down. I just got out of a really bad abusive relationship. So I'd come down just for a little while and then here I-
Vacationing.
In the great state of Florida.
What kind of criminal history? There must be some sex offense at least.
Sex
Yeah.
offense.
It's a promote prostitution charge back from 2010.
Ah,
I pled out of it in 2011. I did my time for it. There's
I
no
retired.
victims or children involved. That's the law now. So
wait, what?
You
Corporal
can't
Pablo,
sell
you got
poontang
anything
anymore,
else to
Creed,
add?
is what she just said.
It's
That's the
10
law.
through 16 with FTAs, burglaries, thefts, DWLSR, VOPs.
All right, ma'am. Mom.
Mom.
Bond
Split.
set at $5,000. Your court date is April 25th at 9:00. Take care.
okay. Thanks.
Mom,
You're
meatloaf.
See?
Mom.
When the light comes on, sign.
Okay.
Next. Red
Next
X ma'am,
contestant.
state your name.
Ms. Harris, you have a couple of things going. One is a resisting without violence. That's case number 22-1106. And that case is punishable by up to 5 years and 1 year, $1,000. Your court date is Friday the 18th at 8:30. You're also charged with criminal mischief, $1,000 or more, and it's attempted burglary, isn't it?
So I guess you have to register as an offender nowadays if you're involved in.
Okay.
Yeah.
they've got it as a
Prostitution?
burglary,
That
but
would
it
make
doesn't
sense
look
why
like
she
you
said
ever
that.
made any
Yeah,
entry. So, if it's burglary, it's 15 years. If it's attempted, it's 5 years maximum. You have the right to remain silent. Should you give up that right, anything you say can be used against you. You have the right to an attorney and to have one appointed for you if you cannot afford one. Based on the information you provided, you do qualify for the public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Sure.
Okay, public defender is appointed. All
Speak
right,
up.
well, Ms. Harris,
She's
I found
crying.
nothing. Also showed she's from Apalachicola, so is there some kind of history that I don't know about?
You're going into
No, sir.
jail, wouldn't you be?
Ms. Harris, do you live in Apalachicola?
I live between Appalachia and Tallahassee.
Okay, what do you do over there? You have a job?
Yes, sir.
What is it that you're doing?
Whoa, wait.
This old guy.
At a
on the beach.
Hey, Floyd. Is that her
On the
boyfriend?
beach Here?
St. George Island.
Out of nowhere,
Okay.
Floyd.
All right, your bonds are set as follows: 1,500 on the resisting, 1,000 on the criminal mischief, 5,000 on the burglary / attempted burglary. No contact with any victim except through proper pretrial discovery.
You're in for that much,
And
like,
we'll see
and you're
you
sitting
on
there
Friday,
crying.
and then your felony court date is April the
maybe
11th at 9 o'clock.
maybe
Step
Creed.
to
She
your right
doesn't
to the
have the
T on the
money.
floor. When the light comes on, sign. Next,
When the light comes on,
Ready?
sign, baby.
state your name.
The DMV.
Hello, Ms. Green.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm doing fine, thank you. You have a violation of probation warrant from Judge Stevenson. He said to hold you without bond to come back on April 27th at 9. You have the right to remain silent. Should you give up that right, anything you say can be used against you.
So her
You
bond's
have the
nothing.
right to an attorney and to have one appointed for you if you cannot afford one. If you would like the public defender to be appointed, raise your
Uh-oh,
right
she's-
hand and be sworn.
she's
You got it
talking.
up. Okay,
Hi,
you swear
Mayor.
to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You can put your hand down.
May
When's
I
the last
have-
time when's the last time you had a job or any other source of income?
I have a job right now. I missed
Okay.
yesterday.
What is it that you do?
I work at the AMI store.
Are you going to be able to get any funds while you are custody?
AMR
No,
store?
sir. I was trying to see if.
Hold on. Hold on, I'm asking you questions. Do you have a car, truck, boat, plane, motorcycle, anything like that?
No,
She has a
sir.
plane, Your Honor.
Do you own any land or property, any real estate?
No, sir.
All right. the
150
public defender's
acres, Your
appointed to
Honor.
represent you. Now, you can say something if you want, but remember that you have the right to
American
remain
Medical
silent. And
Response
remember that we
may be
record everything that you
AMR.
say.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
be careful.
Okay,
You
I
wanna
have
say
two.
something?
Yes, sir. I have two violations, actually 3 violations on here that say that
Hey,
I was
Floyd.
at a hotel, which the hotel is connected to the children
we're
and
not.
families.
Yeah, we're not doing anything with the evidence today.
Hi,
You're gonna
Floyd.
have to
Floyd back again in the
But I
bedroom, by the
wasn't
have
way.
a discussion with Judge
Sexy.
Stevenson.
How do I talk to him then?
Yeah, JJ.
Well, you
like,
got a lawyer
I
now, and you
can't
talk to
work
your
right
lawyer.
now,
Your
Your
lawyer
Honor.
can get
I'm missing work.
whatever your thing is heard by Judge Stevenson, if not before, on April the 27th. Okay. Take care, Ms. Green.
Step over to your right. When the green light comes on, sign.
She in the back, she's telling her friends, I'm gonna bust
Maren,
this
come
case
on.
wide open.
Yeah.
This is
Floyd.
all wrong.
Wait for the
Floyd,
light to come on. Let's step out for me.
mad as hell. Back up. Uh-oh.
Oh, she gonna be some ass. Did she do that because of the attitude? You think?
I think so.
or-
She does got some
Ready?
sass.
How do I get in touch with him?
State your name, ma'am.
Tiffany Marin?
Jonathan.
Tiffany Marin?
Okay, ma'am, says you signed a waiver. I think this is the one that looked like they sent me. Judge Campbell might have signed in your spot.
He
Okay.
re-signed it. I was here.
Okay. All right, so
These are great.
Yeah.
we have to give 30 days from the day that you sign, so from March the
She's
2nd.
scheduled.
So from March the 2nd, your return date will be 30 days makes it this.
That's what I was trying to-
Be April the 1st.
Hi,
If you
Floyd.
haven't been picked up by then, if something happens, you'll be back in front of the court to find out what's going on. You'll be held without bond until then, okay? Remember, you've got the right to remain silent, and you should take that seriously because whatever you say here in Florida could also be used up in North Carolina. Take care.
North Carolina.
Step to your T. When the green light comes on, sign. Next. Mr. Green, you can come in now.
Next,
Ready?
please.
Face the TV and state your name.
Hello, Mr. Green. I already did the violation of probation, so that's scratched here, but you've got an additional
Relation to
charge.
Miss Green, you think?
Not
maybe.
additional information, but they added a charge of felon in possession to the things we talked about yesterday. Now it's case number 22-991.
Adding on
And
charges.
This, I'm going to add an extra $5,000 on your bond. Your court date's April the 11th, 22, unless you have an earlier date scheduled. Take care, sir.
All right, step on the
Camera
T.
hog is what he is.
When the
here.
green light comes on, sign. Next. Strickland, come on.
This lady runs this
Ready?
courtroom right there.
State
She
your
is
name.
the backbone of this courtroom.
She's
Hello,
good.
Mr. Strickland, 22992. You're charged with burglary. It says of an occupied structure, it's a garage
Cat burglar?
attached to a house, so it could be a dwelling.
Could be a
If it's a dwelling, it's 15 years and $10,000 maximum. If it's a structure, it's 5 years, $5,000. You have the right to remain silent. Should you give up that right, anything you say can be used against
Gabby.
you. You have the right to an attorney and to have one appointed for you if you cannot afford one. If you would like the public defender to be appointed, raise your right hand and be sworn, please.
What about
Swear to
Floyd?
tell
Can
the
he
truth,
get
the whole
Floyd?
truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Put your hand
Where
down.
is
When's the
Floyd? I
last
haven't
time
seen
that
him
you
in a
had a
while.
job or any other source of income?
Hope he's all right.
I work for a guy named Steve. He owns Tool Time Home Improvement.
Tool Time
He's a
with
really
Steve.
good guy. I got his number. I haven't been able to contact him right now, but yeah, I work for him.
Wait.
How much money do you make working
You
for
can't
Steve?
contact him right now?
Like,
$1 million.
like $80 to $100 a day. It's really like, under the table type stuff.
Oh well,
say you made in
way
the
to throw
last
Steve
month?
under the table.
I don't work with him, but maybe 2 weeks out of the month anyway. So it's like,
Okay.
I don't even
So
know.
how much would you say you made in the last month?
Maybe $1,000.
So you've worked 10 days. You
Do
said.
you own any land or property, any real estate?
We work all month
No,
for
sir.
that, bud.
Do you
Hot
have a car,
damn it.
truck, boat,
Damn it,
plane,
damn it.
motorcycle?
No, sir.
Public defenders appointed to represent you. Looks like the last thing you had got dismissed back in December of
Sounds good.
21. That's
Yes,
good.
sir.
Unfortunately, you have a very extensive history, which includes
Yes, sir.
batteries, resisting, grand theft, and other things. Your bond on this case is set at $10,000. Your court date's May the 2nd at 9 o'clock.
Hey,
You'll have no
was a
contact with the
quick
alleged
one.
victim in any manner except through proper pretrial discovery.
Tim Allen
And
will
you'll
be
stay
here.
away from
Steve's lawyer,
142
too.
Manatee Drive. Take care.
Steve's about to get all kinds of
I
trouble.
love
to your
how he
right, to the
says,
T.
I
When the
just
light
love how he
comes on,
says, yeah, you
sign.
know, look
Next.
under the table for Steve over there at Tool Time. I can't get a hold of him. Haven't heard from him in a while. I'm still working.
I can give you his number though. And you can
Ready,
call him.
sir? State your name.
Christopher Pierre, case number 214342. It is a failure to appear on a battery case that Judge Van said to hold you on $10,000 and come back
Hey,
for
Jen.
his pretrial on April the
Jen.
12th at 9. You have the right to remain silent. Should you give up that right, anything you say can be used against you. You have the right to an attorney and to have one appointed for you if you
The
cannot
Tool
afford
Time
one.
guy seems
Based
very
on the
worried
information
about
you
being in
provided,
jail.
you do qualify for the public defender. Would you like me to appoint that office to represent you?
Yes, sir. I already had,
Okay.
Hey,
Ashley
Floyd.
Morgan on the case.
Okay, well, when you fail to appear, they may or may not have kept you on there, but we'll go ahead and
of the
appoint the
Floyd
public
fan
defender,
club.
make sure that's straightened out.
Something
And it'll be
weird.
up to Mr. Sims to decide who handles it on that day, okay?
Yes, sir. Can I, ask a question?
You can.
I
Are
came
you married,
to,
Your Honor?
pretrial the first time and pled.
That's not a question.
I know I have to, I was getting there. I pled not guilty the first time. I spoke to my lawyer and they said I could do a continuance bond on Friday. And, I got arrested on Friday and did not get the chance to do that. I wanted to know, is there any way that I could just go ahead and I told my lawyer that I wanted to just go ahead and resolve the case. Is there any way that I could go ahead and plead guilty and
Hey,
use
Floyd.
this to fine?
No, sir, I'm not doing that today. There's a victim in this case who would have to be notified before anything like that is taken care of. So you reach out to your attorney, Ashlyn, or somebody else, and maybe they can get it taken care of before that April date.
Okay.
Your Honor, I was supposed to get a continuance and I didn't. Tool Time. Oh,
Look.
Damn it.
Panama City Beach, just so you know.
he's doing well. It's doing real well. Tool Time. Go ahead and get your no lawsuits. I see. Good
Yeah.
thing. Pays under the table. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Good work.
If you would like the public defender, raise your right hand and be sworn.
Nightbot, go ahead.
please. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
God,
Thank you.
Yes.
Put your hand down. When's the last time that you had a job or any other source of income?
Well,
16.
I work off and on with a chick named Courtney, a friend of mine.
A
Cleaning
chick named
condos.
Courtney.
Okay. How much money would you say you made in the month of February?
From the chick named
Probably about $500.
Okay.
$500.
Do you have a car, truck, boat, plane, motorcycle?
No, sir.
Yes.
I have
Do you
a
own any
moped,
land
Your
or
Honor.
property, any real estate?
Hey, Floyd.
No, sir.
Public defenders appointed to represent you. Take care, sir.
Floyd's
Step to
eye
the right
contact
to the
right there
T.
was awesome.
The light comes on, side. Next.
Floyd is my new favorite villain.
I want to clip
Next.
her saying next.
Is it a misdemeanor or felony?
Next, please.
Misdemeanor right now, but based on your record, they could bump it up. We'll just have to see what the state decides to do.
Can he call Courtney?
State your name.
Austin Lee Walker.
Austin Lee Walker, you're
Walker.
here in case number 22-1109. You're charged with battery on Victoria Barlow. That's punishable by up to 1 year, $1,000. You have the right to remain silent. Should you give up that right, anything you say can be used against you. You have the right to an attorney and to have one appointed for you if you cannot afford one. Based on the information you provided, you qualify for the services of the public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to
They
represent
make
you?
money other ways, J. Of course.
Please, sir.
I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Mr. Walker, I have a Panama City Beach address for you, but also a Mississippi ID number. Where do you live?
I just moved here from Mississippi
When
Good
was
start.
just moved here?
Off to a good
2.5 months ago.
What have you been doing with yourself since you got here for work?
I work at Mako
Catching
Body
cases.
Shop on 98, painting cars.
He's a
Remember, is there any
banging
kind of
car.
criminal history on this individual?
He has a Mississippi 21 assault.
Hey,
Sir, do you
Prerequisite.
have someplace you can be?
you
other
tell me
than where Miss
Mako
Barlow
only pays
is?
$500 a month to paint
Yes,
cars?
sir. I haven't been able to get in contact with my boss because it was like 4 a.m. But as soon as I can get in touch with him, I can go to work and I have a place to stay that's no longer our house.
Did you see the icon just come up
Your
like
bond
it's
set
a
at
phone service?
$2,500. Your court date is Friday, the 18th at 8:30. No contact.
Keep an
with
eye on their
the
internet.
Look
victim
at
in
this
any manner
guy.
except through proper pretrial discovery. If you make the bond, you report to the
Just see him while I
pretrial
talk with
office
Mike.
after
Good to see you,
court
buddy.
on Friday. Take care, sir.
By the way, we're
Step to your right
enjoying
to
these
the T.
first ones
When the
coming
light
through in
comes on,
Florida. All
sign.
Florida,
Next.
man.
Oh, yeah.
Ready?
Uh-oh.
State your name.
Hold on just a second. Hold on.
Look at this hair.
No, you go ahead.
We need to brush that out before talking to the judge, please. All these people that have no jobs, but then they'll say, "Oh yeah, I was working at Mako.
Okay.
Made
Thank
$500
you.
last month." Your
My
Honor.
favorite.
Are you
Steve
David
over at Tool
Foster?
Time.
Yes, sir.
David Foster, case number 22993. You're charged with possession of child pornography times
Oh.
10. Each one of those is punishable
Seems
by
fitting.
5 years, $5,000. You have the right to remain silent.
Oh.
Should you give up that right, anything you say can be used against you. You have the right to an attorney and to have one appointed for you if you cannot afford one based on the information you provided. You do qualify for the services of the public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Nah.
Yes, sir.
I will appoint the public defender's office.
Do we have a way to
represent you. Is
send
there any kind of criminal
like
history
a
on
link,
Mr.
by the
Foster?
way?
Georgia.
Are you talking about like invite somebody?
DWLSR
Yeah, you can send me a link. I'd love to, 'cause
Oh,
we're
okay.
streaming
FTA
on the internet.
15, computer
Yeah,
theft
absolutely.
in 14.
Hey, Floyd.
Mr. Foster, I've got a Bay County address for you, but
Floyd's my
also
favorite.
a Georgia ID listed. How long have you been in Bay County?
Oh, since the summer before, Michael, I don't know what year that was. I think it was
17, 18?
I'm on it.
Yes,
18
sir.
is when Michael came, okay.
it was
All right. What is it you've been doing for work?
I was painting houses, but I was on the way to go to work and then I got this. I don't know what
It just
going on.
out of nowhere, Your Honor.
Okay, your
The law
bond
just
set at
shows up.
150,000, that's 15,000 per count.
Oh.
Your court date is April the 18th at 9 o'clock. Should you make bond, you report to the pretrial release office the next business day. You shall not access the internet in any manner.
That goes without saying, I think.
Take care, sir.
Take care, sir.
Take care. Have a great day.
The
You
light comes
jerk.
on, fine. Next. Red X. State your name, sir.
Justin Goldberg.
Oh, Mr. Galbraith, you're here in case number 22-897. You're charged with grand theft of a moped. Said it was taken on
from the 7-Eleven
October the 8th, and they saw you in possession, or they recovered it on October the 25th.
Did it have VIP
Neither
on
of
the side
which
of it? Those
dates
are the
would
best ones.
qualify you
Floyd?
to violate your probation in case number 21-2850. You have the right to remain silent. Should you give up that before you?
Well, what just happened there?
What'd that happen?
Oh, is bowling on?
I don't know. Can we get back to that?
Well, you figure that out. We'll see if anything's happening over here with big glass.
So yeah,
big
I
glasses.
don't have any objection what Mr. Art provided to the court, Your Honor.
All right, so
Throwing us out of court,
trial,
Creed.
parties can discuss potential resolution
back,
of an
if you
agreed
wanna go to it.
dependency. And then if there's no agreement at that time, then the court will
back on.
confirm a trial date.
Do you have a car, truck, boat, plane, motorcycle?
No, sir.
No, but a moped.
All right,
own
Mike,
any
I
land
sent
or
you a link,
property,
bud.
any real estate?
I emailed it to the only email I have for you.
Public defenders appointed to represent you.
Well, if
How
we
long
put
have
that
you lived in
link in the
Lake
chat, everybody will be joining us.
Oh, everybody and their brother be
I
joining.
was about 15.
I've got you down as 40 now. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Have you had a chance even to get out and check in with to start your probation?
No, sir, that's what they recovered me from. When I signed up probation, and when I went to check in the next day is when they expressed me for this.
Okay, so you
One of the
were,
best
were you
chairs in the
out of
business.
custody before, or were you?
Oh, that's a great chair.
Yeah, I was out of custody. I signed up.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna put you back.
I
out
did
of
enjoy the
custody
guy
on
that's in
pretrial
trouble
release.
for the really bad
You're
stuff we
not gonna
just
have
all
much
said.
to do since you're on
I was
probation.
trying to go to work,
Still need
but
to check in with them tomorrow morning by
did this
9
to
o'clock.
me.
Have no contact with the victim in any manner except through proper pretrial discovery. Court dates April the 25th at 9 o'clock. Even though this doesn't violate your probation, I would, if it were me, I would contact my PO and tell them the dates so that they don't get a violation report out there on you. Okay?
How many people
Any
get
questions?
arrested there today?
I don't know. These are all
You're
first
right.
appearances.
When the light
Yeah.
comes on, sign.
All of them first
Red
appearances,
X, sir.
which is
State your name.
pretty crazy.
Hello, Mr. Worlds. You're here in case number 22-994. You're charged with possession of cocaine with intent to sell or deliver.
You made
Mike,
it
you
in,
ready?
you ready?
Up to 15
Yeah.
years
Pop
and
Mike in.
$10,000.
Wow, look at
Hello,
this.
hello. Should you
Good.
give up that right, you say can be used against you, you have the
That
right
volume, would you?
That beautiful.
Where's this call out of?
to afford one if you would like.
We are
Raise your right
in the
hand.
Carolinas. I'm in South Carolina. Mikey is in
Swear to tell the truth, the whole
North
truth, and nothing but the
Carolina.
truth.
With
All
beautiful
right.
books
Nice to
behind
meet you
me.
guys.
Good to meet you, man. I was worried about reaching out to him. I was like, I want to reach out to Mike because I love his stuff, and it did inspire me to start doing this kind of thing.
It
Oh,
did-
that's
bring that-
cool.
Bring that volume down all the way, will you?
So I just thought
We're
that
gonna miss a
one
couple of these. I think we'll be all right. I said so way in the beginning because I've been watching you for quite a while, Mike. I absolutely love what you do. Here's one thing that's really cool. You are live a ton, and we say this all the time with us. We only do live stuff, and it was kind of crazy when we. Hey, Floyd.
Floyd's back.
When I ran across you, and one of the coolest things is you kind of have a family kind of like we do over here with our chases and the stuff that we do. And it's really cool because you don't see that on the YouTubes very often.
Yeah. Live is hard too. I did one yesterday. It was just an audio test. I actually did a chase yesterday.
I know. I love
Oh,
it. We
yeah.
watched it. I watched
And
it
they're so
yesterday,
nice they watched it.
Yeah,
love
it was good stuff, man. We love everything you do over there.
No, you guys, I get, I mean, this sounds conceited, but it is. I get a lot of requests. So somebody reached out to me and I'm like, I want to check this out. So I subscribed to you guys. Okay. But then of course I got caught with something else. I'm waiting right now. I have a court appearance at 1. So like in about a half hour, I gotta go do that. I see you guys live. All I'm checking with that is, are they crazy? Like, am I being associated with like, I don't care if you have a different perspective, but like, are you insane? Are you like something that I don't want to be associated with?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I turn this on and I'm like, no, they're good guys. So, and then I just go into the chat. It's that simple.
Oh, I love it.
But
Well,
this
I
ought to be
appreciate
fun. So this is a criminal call out of South Carolina.
Yeah, these are all first appearances.
Oh yeah, no, these guys. This is Florida.
This is North Carolina right here. I'm not North Carolina. It's Florida right now.
Jesus,
Jesus
get it right.
Christ.
Two
All the
mics on at
states are-
once. Jesus, see what
Two
happens.
mics too many. Bye. But yeah,
they're out of Florida. So it's the first. I would assume they were all just arrested last night. In first appearances.
Yeah, they don't have attorneys.
we're 25 people deep at least at this point. So they keep coming. So
banging them through.
Oh,
but
I just did a call. The guy's name is Judge Knight out of Clayton County, Georgia, and he is an absolute machine. It was hilarious.
We saw one where it was in the courtroom, and it looked like there were like 3 people sitting there at that table, and all they were doing paperwork like this and just it's crazy.
The funnest thing that we done recently, though, we stumbled upon harassment court, which I didn't even know was a thing. And we watched.
I've never heard of it.
You need to go back and watch it. Then I put it up there because the judge then let me break it down real quick. There was 2 different families. They had baby. The mom
baby mama
one family and a son was the other one, and another family. So they're like feuding and going against each other.
Oh yeah.
And the dad sends over text messages to the other dad, which are extremely vulgar.
Right.
And the judge reads them. I mean, right out in court. I mean, no censoring. And they are dirty. I mean, dirty texts. And we're like, harassment court is something I've never even heard of.
No.
And it was like the next case was a husband and wife, where the 2 new wives are fighting with each other. You know, the ex-wife, the new wife are, afraid of one another. So I didn't know if you'd ever heard of harassment
call.
What's that?
It's the Jerry Springer call.
Yeah, exactly.
The guy was paying it was like $4,500 a month, right?
Yeah, just in spousal support,
yeah.
not including what he was paying for child support and $904 on a Land Rover.
I'll have to check that out. That is always fun. I like it when you've got like a really straight-laced judge like dropping F-bombs because they're reading a text.
Mm-hmm. And it's very deadpan. It's like,
yeah, I'm used to it because I've been in court, and it's like, look, we don't use that language, but if it's necessary for the case, we're adults. I've seen it for years. That comes out, no problem. Yeah. But other people aren't as accustomed to it, and they're like, "Oh, did that just happen?"
But yeah, harassment court is definitely. We hope to find it again. If you don't mind, Mike, we're going to pop up a few of these, and if you love to hear your take on some of these guys coming through.
Through day setters and temporary labor opportunities. So
how much money do you make on a weekly basis, a monthly basis?
Since it's yet to be determined yet, but I was trying to say it's right where
we're gonna go with 0.
minimum wage is at.
Nothing. Can Your Honor, can you do some math for me? What's minimum wage right now times 0?
It's yet to be determined. In other words, he doesn't have a job. Okay.
Right. Yeah. A lot of indigent folks are in trouble all the time, it seems.
Is this to see about a bond or the public?
This is to see about whether you get the public defender or not.
See, that would all differ about how much money I make, depending on
That's why I asked you the
on
question.
how I shall have to define that.
This guy's a poet. I didn't know it.
Oh, that's some good.
As being legally defined as a job, but I could if I wanted to.
What would you call a job, Your Honor?
What's your definition of work?
You get paid by somebody. That's what I'm interested in.
Okay. Well, you didn't answer my question, so I'm going to have that
tried
to the circuit court judge you see on April the 18th at 9 o'clock. Sir, you have an extensive history, including thefts a lot of trespass and loitering of property. And this looks like one step up from that. Your bond's set at $5,000 per
Well,
count.
he's on an upward swing then.
You'll have
Yeah.
No
contact
cat
with either
burglary,
victim
which is always
in any
a
manner
plus.
except through proper pretrial discovery.
Your Honor, he's on probation in county court.
Yes.
We got a violation of
Well, I
probation
didn't
too.
find that.
It was
not good.
220870 It's with Judge Van.
Floyd
He
looks
was waiting
different.
on it
Yeah, Floyd's really
a week
pretty.
ago, 39.
All right, Mr. Hunt, I'll be finding that case and doing a warrant for violation of probation. I'll set a bond for you.
Gabby, I love that question. Mike, would you say Judge Middleton is the most famous as far as in the YouTube Zoom world? If you think?
Ooh, yes, but not by much. I don't know if you've seen Lanice Bryant on my
Oh.
channel, but that blew up pretty big.
Oh yeah,
Judge Cedric Simpson, big
Judge Kim,
following.
Judge Kim's got to be right up there too.
Judge Kim is huge. I don't do those because they're minors,
Go ahead and
Yeah.
step out.
but yes, a ton of people watch Judge Kim.
when we first started doing
Wait.
this, we said none of the
It's
CPS
always
stuff.
to be determined.
Judge Kim's the only one that we watch.
There you go.
Yeah, when
Say
it comes
your
to
name.
that kind of stuff.
Oh, Nelson. Oh, Nelson, case number
Big boy.
22997, you're charged with false imprisonment, depriving the victim of the access to 911, each punishable by up to 5 years, $5,000. You have the right to remain silent. Should you give up that right, anything you say can be used against you. You have the right to an attorney and to have one appointed for you if you cannot afford one. If you want the public defender, raise your right hand and be sworn, please.
Why can't we put a video of the
You don't
judge
want-
saying
you
that
sure to
outside
tell
in
the
the
truth, all the
lobby,
truth, and
like
nothing
it's
but the
Disney
truth?
World? You're about to go on a ride.
Thank you. Can put your hand down. When's the last
They do-
time
they
that
do
you had
sometimes.
a job or any
Okay.
other source of income? Last week. Okay, what were you doing and how much money were you making?
I'm sorry, what was the first question, sir?
What were you doing and how much money were you making?
Off to a good start.
CDL truck driver, $23 an hour.
Ooh,
There we go.
now that's a job.
Finally,
It's a
somebody with a
job.
job.
I've been with that company for a
that
month.
contributes to society.
Yes.
Say it
We had a-
proud.
Yeah, we had a guy earlier said, I
have
was
a
working
car,
with this
truck, boat,
chick,
plane,
Courtney.
motorcycle?
The guy before him was. I work for
what year-
Steve at Tool Time. He pays me under the table, and I can't.
So
get a
he
hold of
pays
him
me under
anymore.
the table, Your Honor.
2003. That's okay. Do you own
Yeah.
any land or property? It's not a semi, is it?
No,
Okay. Do you own any land or property, any real estate?
no, sir, I don't.
I'll
Fuck,
appoint
nobody
the public
owns
defender's office to
anything in
represent
Florida.
you. Sir, you had a strange history that I could found. You had a battery by strangulation and 2 batteries when you were a juvenile, but I didn't find anything. You're 23 now, right?
23.
I thought he was
Corporal Fambro,
43.
is there anything since those juvenile offenses?
No, sir.
Mr. Nelson, how long have you lived in Bay County?
I've been here my whole life, sir.
Do you currently
I'm
live with
very
your
sad to say
mother-in-law?
Bay
I was-
County?
yes,
Is
sir.
this Florida?
Yeah,
Yes.
I've got
Florida.
somewhere else to go if I'm able to get bond or be released.
Where's that you would be able to go? Is that in Bay County?
Wow.
It
I
is
know
in Bay
exactly
County,
where
yes,
this
sir. It's
is.
over in Lynn Haven. It is my mom and dad's house.
You're released on pretrial release. Report tomorrow morning there by 9 a.m.
Let's just say I
That's on the
spend a lot of
second
time
floor
in
of the
Walton
courthouse.
County, which
Absolutely no
borders this.
contact with Ms. Rexford in any manner except through proper pretrial discovery. You can't even send messages through your wife. Okay, your court date's May the 2nd at 9 o'clock. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Step on the
That's
T
a
on
big
your right.
thing nowadays, too.
When the
People
light comes
that
on,
have like
sir.
restraining orders against other people, no contact.
What's your name, sir?
Having someone
Oh,
else send
me?
text messages for you to the
All right,
person you're
step on
not
it,
supposed to be talking.
Now face
They'll
the
come and
TV.
lock you up for that.
Mr. Derrico, you are charged with possession of a firearm with an
That's so hard to control
serial number
with
which
social
is
media and all that stuff.
needs to have a misdemeanor court date and a misdemeanor.
This dude 23
number.
too.
Yes.
So your court date's going to be Friday,
Young
the
whippersnapper.
18th at 8:30.
Wow.
And I'll attach a copy of the statute.
Bay County is like
Officer check
Panama
it on
City
file.
Beach.
Punishable by up
Right.
to 1 year, $1,000.
I was just gonna say that
You have
'cause
the
I had
right to
looked up
remain
the,
silent should you give up that right, anything you
Steve
say
guy
can be
Tool
against you.
Time.
You have the
It was
right to
Panama
an
City,
attorney
so
and to
you're
have
right
one
on.
appointed for you.
I've flown into ECP, which is
If you want the public
the
defender to
airport there.
represent you,
I
raise
mean,
your right
hundreds
hand
of
and be
times.
sworn, please. No, sir. You don't? Okay. You don't have to. If you decide you want the public defender, you can apply on Friday when I see you. All right.
Want to jump over to
Hold on just a second.
Honorable
I
Cedric?
found a bunch
Yeah,
of
let's go
stuff
see what
on
Cedric's
this.
doing.
See what's going on.
One of my favorites.
Oh, Judge Simpson.
Mm-hmm.
You may.
Miss Catherine, the number for the public defender's office is in the chat. If you could call them to update your contact information so we can be in touch.
What happened to OnePlus Nord?
I don't know.
Just took a fall.
Cedric the adjudicator, as he's called in my comment section.
He seems really nice at
Okay,
points, but
Stephen
man,
Burke,
he can flip that
Tyrone.
switch quick.
Yeah, he
Tyrone
can.
Smith, the 4.
Ashley Lonnie for the people.
He really is a nice guy, but yeah, he's got limits.
Mm-hmm.
He runs a tight ship. He does care for people. I like that about him. Hi,
She did.
Amy.
Okay.
I do see a person named Tyrone Smith with what it
Tyrone
looks like
Smith?
preferred pronouns in parentheses on the Zoom.
Oh Lord. Oh, help
Love
us
it.
all.
Ma'am, can you unmute? Okay.
You see a lot of that nowadays.
Oh, sorry.
No, you got it. Okay, you eventually got there. State your name, please.
My name is Tyrone Smith the 4th.
Okay.
I played football with this guy. I'm not sure.
It is misdemeanor.
So one thing I gotta say, Mike. So of course, we're not lawyers. We know we're learning as we go. Of course, just the
Right.
little things like we didn't even know cat burglary was a thing. We had to search indigent. But it's been fun, all of us learning so much more. But we put a whole different spin on it. Our background is radio,
Right.
For many years. So we do things differently. But we've been on our best behavior with the law stuff because we really do enjoy it. I watch a lot of it during the day while doing the old eBay and such. But we've enjoyed it so much. But I want to say this: one of the things that I just love, I had instantly connected with you in the channel when I ran across you quite a while ago now. But just with the sense of people that you've got surrounding you on your channel is much like ours. And like I said, you just don't see that much. And I just love it. It's the first thing I had said when we watched on a members only, I think it was.
It really, the community, the people that you attract, and I don't know what you can do to control that, but it is everything. I do it all the time where I do a live stream and I'll space out and I'm just reading my chat and I'm like, oh, wait, this is my stream. Like I'm just like watching it,
Right.
It's so easy.
I
It's cool.
love it.
Thank you very much.
It's the thing with a lot of these channels too. It's so polished and so overdone, and so I'm just going to be concise and not acknowledge my community. And because of what you're doing, that's what the feel between both you and ourselves. That it feels like that interaction is there, and it's more of just a hangout thing,
Exactly.
just like I'm doing business with you.
Right. You're not being a what do you call it? A hype beast like everybody else on YouTube that you have to do things this way. You have to
That does get formulaic and you can see
does.
it, especially if you're a creator like us and you're like, yeah, okay, I saw you checked all the boxes.
Right.
But that content has no soul. It's crushing me.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
That you, Terry code 734
734.
Okay, 973.
My favorites is this.
0.
Mike, do you think Zoom Court's here to stay, or is it going to go away?
I had this. I keep checking because I actually have Zoom in a little bit. I think a lot of it will hang out.
I think so too.
But my assistant today just told me I have a case up. I'm in Cook County, Chicago, and she's like, we have a case up in Will County, and they said as soon as the mask mandate's lifted, you have to go. I'm like, oh no. Which isn't far. It's just a nightmare traffic in the worst part of the city, for no good reason.
You are before the court.
I think Judge Middleton had said a lot of it's going to keep. So you're not having to jump around to so many courtrooms in a day, driving back and forth. You can bang them out a lot better.
Seems more.
It's too convenient.
Yeah.
Not for like court should really be trials and evidentiary hearings and heavy
Right.
duty stuff. All
Sure.
this, we did this, that, and the other thing. Let's come back in another date, which is a lot of court, and that's
Sure.
fine. There's no reason you can't do that on Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
None.
I think that's the part that's going to stick around the most.
I hope so.
You understand what you're charged with?
The first charge, could you repeat that again?
The first charge is operating while intoxicated.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry. I'm drunk. I don't understand.
Okay. And then I just gave you the penalties on that. Did
He looks very
understand the
confused.
penalties and what you're charged with?
Yes.
All right. There's also count 2, which is open intoxicants in a motor vehicle or open alcohol in a motor vehicle. You understand that charge, sir?
I don't think he does.
Maybe get his granddaughter to explain it to him. She's sitting right there. Just
I'm
lean
not
over and tell
asking
him.
you at this time whether or not you're guilty or innocent of the charge. I need to make sure that you understand what you're charged with. So do you understand what you're charged with?
Yes.
All right.
Wang.
The open intoxication in a motor vehicle is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 90 days in jail, $100 fine plus court costs. Court could also order community service or any substance abuse screening. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
I don't know if he does or not. He's very disoriented at the moment.
All right. First question I have for you, sir, is do you wish to be represented by an attorney?
I'll find my own attorney, Your Honor.
Okay. When do you plan on doing that?
I wasn't aware of the charges.
How?
Ticket because I
Who's
had
the
no
person next to him?
He had an open intox. Did he have a DUI of some kind too?
Yeah, it seems that way. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
I just
no, hold on one moment.
Here it
I'm going
comes.
to caution you. I don't want you to say anything about the case, okay? Because, and I do have to advise you, you do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You understand that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So you're going to hire your own attorney.
Yes, Your Honor. If I can't, will I be able to still get a court-appointed attorney?
I'll tell you the
I'm trying to
best
qualify
way to do
for that.
this. Then
If you own a boat,
so you're
sir,
not sure whether or not you're going to.
Why do you have an assistant, sir?
I'm not sure. I'm on a fixed income and I'm in a medical facility.
Okay, there we go.
Ah.
Now that makes sense.
So let's do.
He's
this.
in a what facility?
A medical facility.
I appoint the public defender to or have the public defender represent you.
by the way, Dominic's smoke him if you got him.
An attorney, they can do what's called a substitution, and then they come in
Yes.
in place of the public defender at that time. Okay, that way, if you're unable to hire an attorney, you still have an
I
attorney.
appreciate this guy doesn't understand.
Yeah.
If he points the public defender, you're not stuck with the public defender.
Mm.
So what I will do,
But the public defender can probably call Ms. Londi over there and bang this out in about 3 minutes,
Right.
depending on his priors. If this is a first offense, there's a clear thing to do here.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. we know who you're talking about.
Thank you. We're
All
going to waive the formal reason of the complaint and stand mute to the charges. In regards to bond, we will be requesting a PR bond with any additional bond conditions that you do set, Your Honor. And we are going to ask for an adjournment of the pretrial with the next available date. And Mr. Craig, if you could please call the public defender's office. The number is in the chat, so we can just get updated contact information for you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you
I
very
see
much.
something for you. Do you see it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely was confused.
I have a.
He was certainly confused.
You know you can't get out on this.
Ooh, nice mullet.
That's
No?
nice.
Or is that an optical illusion?
No, that's a mullet.
Prison for this.
Nope, nope, nope. There's a sign in the hallway.
It's close, yeah.
$1,000 personal ID, which is
Maybe by
wrapped
the time
up
he
in
gets
that
out.
$1,000 petty theft, $1,000.
Just not
Hard-
yet.
This
hard to
company
tell with that
evidence
sign
is
placement.
Yeah.
$500. Felon in possession of the ammo, but nothing to shoot it with, $1,000. Possession of paraphernalia, $1,000. I've already mentioned your court date is April the 25th at 9. I'm also going to tell you to stay away from
Felony
the following
possession of
places:
ammo. Does that mean he
Albany
was already a
County
felon?
Walmart,
You can't
Stars,
own ammo.
Stores, the Comfort Inn, and El Jalisco. Take care, sir.
It was felony possession of ammo.
Yeah.
Down. They must have just charged you with
$1,000 fine for possession, felony possession of ammunition.
But by the
with
way,
nothing
I
to
don't
shoot
do
with.
criminal law. I'm learning myself, but you gotta. I'm familiar with the area. They don't care. I mean, they don't care about guns or ammo. Like you got to go out of your way to get in trouble with law about possessing guns or ammo in the panhandle of Florida.
Floyd.
Right down.
Yeah, that definitely. He had to have some priors.
I mean, yeah, if you're a felon or whatever, that's no good. But if you're just a regular person, have at it. You know,
they don't care. Yeah.
Mr. Dominic, are you still there?
Yes.
Mr. Dominic, I forgot to ask you if you wanted the public defender to be appointed to represent you.
Yeah.
I guess.
I will
Whatever.
appoint you.
You're
Okay.
on.
Take care, sir.
I'm just ready to go.
Look at him checking his clock. He's got something to do.
Yeah.
Checking his watch.
Is that even a watch or is it like a tag saying who he is? Yeah. Not even a watch.
Time served.
Hurry this up, Judge.
It looks like they have ID tags on them. I don't know that that's the case.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
The address that you allegedly trespassed. Are you interested in that?
Yeah.
Oh, he might.
All right.
Are you under the influence of any?
Look, I'm getting the tie on.
Here's an exclusive for you guys. A lot of talk with Mike getting ready for an actual court appearance.
Strictly business, Mike.
Anything other than you get time served, there'll be a fine.
You can loop this. It'll be very exciting.
Somebody made you any other promise?
That's what's going to make us right here. Mike getting his tie on.
You understand you have the right to a trial and a lawyer. Would you like
Wait
to
a
give
second.
up those rights and take the?
How about the one of Mike not knowing how to tie a tie? That's the one. Be the big one.
Finding out that Mike doesn't know how to tie a tie.
His secretary is about to come in, tie it for him.
Clip-ons work a lot better.
Yeah, seriously. I need Yesenia's help here.
I'm going to record that you did say yes, Mr. Bush. I'll find that you. And how old are you? You're born in 19. Here's your date of birth. May 15th, 2068.
2068. He's from the future.
We have a time traveler.
1968. Okay.
He
I'll
put
find you capable of
2068.
representing yourself for the purposes of this plea.
Future.
Used freely and voluntarily.
Future
made
man.
with knowledge of the consequences. There's a factual basis for your plea.
Did he
based
really
upon
say
the claims
2068?
you
Yeah, he filled out his paperwork. It said
Time served.
2068 on
Your
it.
fines, fees, and costs in the amount of
As Middleton would say, I'm getting a strong meth vibe.
They're all a little twitchy. I think it was your latest video that you did with that dude at that meeting, man. That stuff is so triggering to me. I know you kind of almost hated to do it, but kind of had to.
Yeah, I did. That delete laws. It was like Glenn Serio. It's like it's so hard to watch, but it comes to a point where it's like I have to address it because it's sort of in my niche, and I have to say something.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally get it. I get so triggered with those things, and just walk out the door, leave. You said your piece. They were super nice to him.
The guy's name, I didn't even know this. The guy's name is apparently Chili. And he sent me a tirade email like right as I was getting on with you. I didn't know. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna just pop on and say hi, and then I get this he's calling me a wuss and everything else. All this stuff.
I would read it if I were you. That's me. I of course would read that, but then again, you don't really want to put a lot of spotlight on it. I know, like you were saying, like about Lincoln, his video.
He's headed for trouble with law enforcement. It'll take a month or a year sort of play out, but he'll end up in jail.
Well, I appreciate you jumping on with us real quick.
Yes.
We're going to have to do something official sometime.
We're big fans, Mike.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I was literally waiting for this, and I'm like, oh, and I just saw your thing pop up, and I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, well, I didn't get a chance to check the channel. Then I watched you guys for 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, they're sane. They're cool, sane guys. So I'm like, I'll hop on here for a second. All right, yeah, I should really pop off so I can be ready for my court appearance.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Best
guys
of
so
luck.
much. I really did have fun.
Yeah,
Good
we're gonna do
deal.
it again.
Well, you're
we're gonna do
welcome
it.
Absolutely.
anytime, Mike. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
What a pleasure. Awesome to see you in a mention. And it's so weird because I've watched so many of his videos.
Okay, so
Oh
you did
gosh,
have-
yeah.
Cool to
Absolutely.
have him on.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure you had some
Sure.
initial medical treatment.
Traffic and weather together for me.
Yes,
I
as you
will
know,
be RB.
history includes-
All right, now I'll
includes
scroll through these
batteries
300
going back to
comments.
2000, 94, 98, 99, 07, 08, 04, 19. I'm going to find that I do need to set a bond on your case at 2,500. No contact with Mr.
Did y'all
H.
think that was pretty cool that
Proper
Law Talk with Mike
discovery. I
just
will see you in
magically
court on
appeared
Friday
here?
morning at 8:30.
I
There's a
did too.
possibility
I'm not
we
gonna
can
lie.
resolve this case
I was
and
kind of
take care of it.
fanboying out. I'm not gonna lie.
Step on the T. When the gray light comes on, sign. That's another one.
Okay, back to 2:00 tomorrow. Thank
Jumping out of this one. Back at 2 tomorrow. And Creed didn't unmute his, so just give me a second while I change this. But yeah, how cool was it to see Mike come by? I'm gonna actually jump to the same one Creed's got, but with volume. So 1 second. Don't forget to like and subscribe, by the way, while I do this Lord's work here. Boom, shakalaka boom. If I unmute mine, you'll hear it way better.
Labeled by my office, and I apologize for that.
Is it a DV?
I believe it's a former dating relationship between the two. I believe they used to be a couple and no longer are.
That's not good. And Creed's gonna say, Mikey, why'd you leave that up all
Right.
day?
So
There we
I
go.
need a DV date. Next DV.
Dominic over here still on now. He went from smoking to being on the move.
No,
Yeah,
that's-
nothing but thanks to Mike over there at Law Talk.
I'll
with
set
Mike.
the
What a
pretrial
great
Saturday
guy.
the 6th. It'll be April 4th, sir. 2022 at 9 a.m.
Esteban, the people are requesting no contact with Alexis Shanique Cole and a no go to of the 9170 MacArthur Boulevard address in Ypsilanti.
Stay away.
Thank you.
No way. Not doing it. I didn't. That was as unexpected as,
Okay, I'm not
just
sure how
how
this
it was
was scheduled on
unexpected for you.
Wednesday,
It was unexpected for us.
Not
I sent Mike an
sure
email
either.
a couple of
Be
days ago.
occupied by
So
that, but that's all right.
it's good to have somebody here who knows what they're talking about too.
The prohibitive address you're requesting is the 9170.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Yes.
Law Talk with Mike. Just like I said under his name, Law Talk with Mike. Very good channel. Very good guy.
All right.
He's got a good
Sir,
family like we do over here.
You waived formal reading of the complaint. I've given you your pretrial date.
We're
The
gonna bring
bond
him
in
in.
this case will be set in the amount of a personal recognizance $5,000 bond. Going to order that as going to order following condition regarding your release, sir. There's to be no use or possession of any alcohol, marijuana, or any illegal drugs. You understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was fun and
All right.
totally
I'm also going to order that you are to report to community corrections to review these conditions.
And just like you just said, I was kind of
and
fanboying out too because you guys don't
potential
understand.
also
I
for
have
the-
watched
and
so
that.
much in the last few months of him.
I'm also going to order
So
that
it's
you
It
really
was
cool to
kind
have
of
him on.
surreal to look and see him on the
Yeah.
screen with us. at
It
the
really
same
was
time.
just because I was
It
so
was,
used to
You are not to leave the
you
state
know
of Michigan without
watching so
permission
much
of
of him,
the
and I didn't want to bombard him with a million
you are not
questions.
to
I wanted to
possess
interview him on the
or
spot
purchase
because it's
any
just kind of like
firearm,
that's just what
ammunition,
we
dangerous
do.
weapon, or anything fashioned to be a
But
weapon.
no,
You
that was
understand that,
perfect. Hung out,
Yes, sir.
chilled out, and a couple
You are
questions.
not to
We're good.
assault, terrorize,
Yeah, a couple of
frighten,
things thrown in there.
intimidate,
He's a
threaten,
good guy, man.
harass,
Yeah,
molest, or
that was a
stalk
lot
anyone.
of fun.
Because he
But I
didn't
would
have to
make
say to
contact
send me a
with
link.
Alexis
You know, he
Cole.
could have been like,
No,
I will
that's
stand by
awesome.
with the
I
police.
love that.
You
good
do
stuff.
are not to attempt. You're not to have.
Those of you
or
who are
attempt
in
to have any
that,
contact with her
I
direct
think that was
or
a members
indirect.
only.
Mhm.
When we watched him and I brought
Or
up the
to
idea,
other
and I said, I'm
individuals
a fan and I
or
love
third
his
parties.
community, like you
You are
just
not to
said, and I
communicate
mentioned
by
to him a couple of
electronic
times. I just,
communication,
you
including
just
but not
don't
limited to
find
phone,
what we have
email,
here.
texting, internet, or other
You
social
don't
media.
find that very
You are
often
not to
out there on
mention
the
her on
internet.
social media.
Yes.
I'm also gonna
Who's
order
handsome?
that you
Feel
are
free to
not
drop
go
Law Talk with
to
Mike's link in the
Oh, please do.
chat.
Yeah,
Feel free.
absolutely.
91170
Anyways, back
MacArthur
to
Boulevard,
Court with Old Set. Are we on your? We're on you, right?
Police.
Well, mine, yeah, because
Is
yours
that
didn't
your
have
home
volume.
address?
Yeah.
You must find in the
Dominic,
other
by the way,
place
is going to be a star. I feel him.
and
He's a star
notify
in the
the
making
court
over here.
of
So, huh?
your new address. You're not to violate any criminal
Him or
law.
Mad
You are
Cave's
also to
brother.
personally appear at all of the
I
court.
noticed that. And
Court
yes, we were
hearings
on our
or to
best
appear
behavior.
as
as well.
directed by the court, like today, with a Zoom proceeding. You understand all of that, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Your Honor, the defendant indicated a few minutes ago the victim was sitting there with him, so the court instructed that this order is effective now and he's subject to arrest if he stays at that location with that person.
Oh,
You understand that, sir?
Leaving immediately, I promise you.
All right. Thank you, because I am now
He is
signing
at
the
the
order.
house of the person that he abused, and they just.
Thank you.
He's there with her right now. What? An order of protection has been issued for the person he's with right now.
Dominic
That's-
Stango.
Like the one with Middleton over at 3B when that happened.
sir.
We
Yes,
watched
sir,
that,
I'm
didn't
here.
we? Where the,
Yeah, I think so.
yeah.
Yeah, this is a formal Trooper Sass, I believe, is on. The people would be ready to proceed with the hearing. I understand that this is an appeal from
There's no way
another
that guy
hearing.
just
I'm not
left there, by the
sure.
way.
I know that there's a very, very busy docket today. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if the court wishes to proceed with the formal hearing today or put it on another special date, but I don't know that we'll be able to resolve it. I understand from Trooper Sass that he previously tried to resolve the matter with Mr. Stango at the informal hearing and was not able to do so.
Yeah, Mr. Stango.
I'm sure it got set for today because most of these are resolved. That's why. But Mr. Stango?
Yes.
Real quick, I just wanted to show you Jeffrey forgot his shirt for court today over here.
He's
Just
trying to impress the judge. Yeah, it's smoking.
Hang on. one
oh
moment.
yeah, he is. This is great. Let's. I'm gonna watch for when it's Jeffrey's turn. We'll see what happens over there. With him.
Dominic's on the move right now.
Are you kind of surprised that they didn't take a little bit of time to make sure that he's leaving the house right now? Like, watch him. You know what I mean?
Well, see, Judge just stepped out for a second. There's the trooper
Oh.
that we got testifying. I'm wondering if he's going to send somebody over to that residence.
I would think
right
so.
now.
You can't let that just.
You can't let that slide. You can't be like, oh yeah, okay, well, we'll believe you.
While he's gone for a second, let's see what's up over here with
program for the
this.
criminal charge.
Era procurabitar deferred prosecution. Iba besa siri ka feri poputeri e kara treatment mebet nge betera yourself porosa red era be procurabira deferred prosecution ko por.
Who's taking a nap down there? Next to the Z.
Yeah, so I'm not talking about anything
coming off of
different
her,
than
she's
you already reviewed with the treatment provider and your attorney.
Iwe sei fo surot tots mi sokora. Seri beta ko en mi poros ngeri. Mire mi no wari gabete e bi poros fogan me robo son.
All right, Judge is back, Creed.
Okay,
Sir,
so
are you wishing to proceed on this matter?
Yes, I am, Your Honor. I had my headlights on, so and I like to see the body cam of the officer, because if it's a body cam after the accident, my vehicle had no power to it. I got documentation from my insurance company showing that during due from the collision, there was no power to the vehicle. So if the body cam showed after the accident, that's why my headlights wasn't on.
Good luck, Sick.
The magistrate said your
Yeah, just come to flaunt your Nutrisystem money at us, are you?
Did work was
must be
that my truck was equipped with, I guess,
some of us have to lose weight the old-fashioned way, just not eat.
All the airbags deployed, the vehicle automatically shuts down. And the only thing works is the hazard lights.
I don't have the body cam, Your Honor. This is a state police ticket, and I understand that it involved 2 Pittsfield Township trucks, or I'm sorry, patrol cars that were stopped with their hazards on. And so there's video from that I know that Trooper Sass has reviewed, but I don't have that. So if Mr. Stango wishes to have the court review that, I would request the adjournment so I can obtain that or attempt to obtain that. But I will need contact information from Mr. Stango so I can provide him with a copy of that as well.
So he
Mr. Stango, if you could put a good
basically
email
is
address in the
everything
chat,
hinges
I'll
on
be able
him
to share that with
having
you.
his headlights on.
Do I just give it to you right now?
There's a
Good
chat
night.
function. If you want all of YouTube to have it, you can
Would
say it
you-
out loud. Otherwise, you can just
Would
go
you
ahead and
know if
put it
he
in
did
the
from
chat
body cam?
function.
Because
You
that wouldn't
type
turn on
the
until after everything was
screen,
done.
be
though.
able to get the chat.
Well,
The chat, I
should-
see,
I don't, yeah.
pay participants, share contents. That's all I see on my phone.
Okay. I'm gonna put a phone number in the chat. You're welcome. I'll tell you, if you have a pen, I can tell you the number to write down to give my office a call to provide that contact information. Are you ready for that, Mr. Stango?
Yes, ma'am.
734
734
222
22.
Trooper Sass over here, probably not very
6620.
happy. Picked time of his day, and now he ain't gonna do nothing.
So it's 734-222-6620.
That's correct. Let them know that you're providing, you have an email address that you need to provide to Miss Londy, and they'll take care of it.
How do you spell your name, Londy?
Londy.
Are you married?
Okay. All right.
What's gonna be on your date, Your Honor?
Yeah, this is gonna be a hoot. Let's go for. Let's go for March 30th. I think it is, right? March 30th, 2022.
Trooper Sass, is that a good date for you?
Will that work for you, sir?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right. I'll
Trooper
set it at
Sass looks
9. But
young.
you'll get a Zoom invite with
Yeah,
a
no
particular time. You understand that, sir?
Yeah.
Well,
March
we're just gonna go-
30th, 9 o'clock, right?
March 30, 9 a.m. or you'll get a Zoom invite at your email that will tell you a different time.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Trooper. You're all set.
I
I'll be in
saw
touch.
Moto
Yeah,
G
good
pop up
Stay
earlier.
safe, please.
It almost looks like she's in a hospital. Like she has some equipment.
Court calls the case.
I don't think she's in a hospital. She just might have some
The
sort of
people
breathing
versus Susan
apparatus.
Jones.
Hmm.
Ashley Londy for the people.
Susan Jones.
Yes, this is Susan Jones
Oh.
speaking. Howard!
I'm being here from Miss Jones.
All right,
Mrs.
what are we doing on this case?
Mrs. Jones.
Your Honor, I don't believe we've formally been appointed to this case. I just was told that this might be one of ours, so I think,
I think you.
might
all
wanna-
right,
You,
This will be a public. Ma'am, do you wish
You,
to be
me,
represented
and
by an attorney
Stormy
on this
McGee.
case?
Yes, I tried to call Miss McGee back
Yeah, I think
yesterday
you
and I
were
was
already appointed or should have been on it, but for whatever, yeah, you were because
blew it, Stormy.
Mr. Brown filed a stipulation to adjourn the matter. It's already a PD case. Obviously you haven't talked to her, so I'll adjourn this to April 6, 2022, 9 a.m. I'll just cut to the chase. All right.
No, he ain't having it, man.
No.
okay, so we're just
Thank
gonna
you.
go ahead
April
and
6.
Thank you.
Okay.
April 6th. Goodbye.
all right.
Okay.
Well,
Hi,
thank you very Marianne. much. I appreciate
Sure.
your time.
You and now yours. Thank you. ma'am.
Roderick's hanging from the ceiling.
All right.
Bye-bye.
We are just shortly after 1 or 2. What time is it? We're
Oh,
shortly
so-
after 2. So
There you go.
we'll start our 2 o'clock block momentarily. I just got to give time to set everything up, get our set list out, and then I'll
Set
be
list.
right back on. Court's gonna
Gonna
start
open with
sweet.
Anna Gata
in the
Davida.
brief recess.
He's putting the band back together. Speaking of which, they ain't no court going on, but these guys.
They could start a
Hanging.
band. You got the
All right.
Reverend over
Yeah,
here.
Derek. I was wondering. Then Billy Rain down there from 8
He's
Foot
like-
Stride.
Take a picture now of me. This is the album cover.
And
Me vaping in front of the flag.
is he?
Get
He
that.
is vaping too.
He's wearing like a purple priest robe or something. He's definitely a character.
Yeah, he is.
By the way, characters right up there. James has got a Warman with him.
Oh yeah, he does. Are they gonna? Whoa! Hey now! Hey now!
James is worming has taken the phone, and
Wow.
James is taking care of what'd she say?
Care of business.
I got time to inappropriately touch you under the table.
And Mr. Rob agreed to pay child support for those children. Is that right?
Yes.
The child support
Then
agreement?
the issue of spousal
let's
support
jump over
apparently
here and,
was one that existed during the divorce action. Again, how long were you and Mr. Rob married for?
Judge
Almost
Colin G. Hunter's
34
personal
years.
meeting room.
And
Place
did Mr. Rob contest the fact that you were seeking spousal support?
Leanne.
No, he did not.
His testimony today was that, as I understood it,
Mr. Rod.
the amount of spousal support was a mathematical calculation that simply reviewed his income and compared to yours, and somehow was an attempt to equalize that on a monthly basis. Is that your recollection?
And it also
Is her
included,
attorney off camera in the same room?
marriage.
Okay. 34 years was a long-term marriage. Is that
I would
correct?
imagine she just looked over to the
And,
left.
during the course of the marriage, did you work much, or were you pretty much a stay-at-home mother?
I always worked usually 8 to 10 hours a week when they were very little, and then it upped maybe to 15 or 20, depending.
What job allows you to do
Now,
that?
did your attorney go through the different factors that the court would have been required to consider in your alimony claim?
Aren't these two a little old to
It
be
seemed like there
splitting
was a
up?
formula that was from the friend of the court that we followed.
Okay, well, my question really goes to the factors that the judge would have had to decide had you guys not
Hey,
come to an agreement.
Do you see the piles
One
of
of the
paper
factors being the
to her,
length
like
of the
to her
marriage.
left
One being the ability of the parties to work,
on the
the
floor?
age of the parties. Now, Mr. Rob is
May have been an
10
accident.
years older than you?
Thank you, but no, only one.
One?
Oh,
Okay.
she's flattered.
My math is not good, and apparently you.
Mikey
better
math.
than your age. I'm still trying to determine where the numbers came from. This obligation for a period of 9 years. How was that decided, if you can recall?
I know we talked about that amount, and I remember at the time.
She
it
said,
was
"Look here,
questioned if
he's
it
really
was gonna
sensitive
be
about his age, and
the
he
rest
looks
of
old."
his working years, and
Hit him with 10 years old.
we agreed actually on 10, so I'm not sure how the 9 got in there.
Okay. In any event, a judgment was entered. You signed it. Your husband signed it.
Correct.
And the judge signed it. So that established the spousal support obligation. Has Mr.
Thank you.
Did Mr. Rob also finish all of his obligations that were required by the judgment of divorce?
No, I know, in the divorce decree, we talked about,
34 years.
a life insurance policy that was to be established.
What went wrong there, you know?
In case something happened,
I
and I
mean-
don't think that ever.
Yeah, you put up with it for 34 years.
Just that. Has Mr. Rob ever provided you a copy of a life insurance
No.
policy that secured the payment of spousal support?
No.
She thinks she's going to get killed.
In fact, it was fairly recent. We had to
Rub
bring
him
this
out?
back to court because the judgment required him to have a quadro, qualified domestic relations order, prepared to divide up some retirement asset. Is that correct?
Yes.
She's going to dip into everything
Pay
he
for it?
has.
It was supposed to be done promptly.
Got to be at that point,
That
right?
is correct.
After
but
34
there was
years.
A hiccup in that. Somehow he relayed the message that he was single, and so it took an extra long amount of time.
Is
to
this
try and
the?
get that?
That's the
Down
husband.
there.
right?
And has Mr. Rob been on time with his spousal support on a monthly basis?
I know there's been some job changes, and
That's a no.
He has been forthcoming.
How much?
In those areas, and yes,
$500 a
Karen, what do you do for a living?
I am a cosmetologist.
You have your own business?
I do.
And
I
is
didn't see that
business
coming.
Operated out of your home?
It is.
And you have provided the court
Out of
with
home
a profit and
cosmetic.
loss statement prepared by Chester Szezmanski. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you tell the court who the gentleman is?
Chester is an accountant.
My boyfriend.
And he's done taxes for probably 30 plus years.
Okay. And did he in fact prepare this profit and loss statement for your business?
Yes.
If we could just take a minute and go through it, because my review of the document shows through December of 2021, your business had a gross receipts, that is gross income of $16,744. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then what Mr. Szymanski did was he deducted the amount of the business expenses you have related to the business, which he totals at $9,165.23.
Correct.
Which shows your business shows a gross profit of about $7,500.
Correct.
In the past year, have there been other sources of income for you?
I was able, for the first time ever, to get unemployment.
Was that COVID related?
That was, yes, COVID related.
In the
How
past
do you get
year,
unemployment if you're self-employed?
clientele drops off significantly?
It has.
You lay yourself off?
My business, yes.
Well, you can't be doing cosmetology stuff during COVID.
Most recently?
Slightly, but it's kind of a totally different environment. When people couldn't get their hair done and they took matters into their own hands, and a lot of people are still scared and haven't come back.
So in terms of your fixed monthly expenses, have you provided the court with a breakdown of what those are?
I did.
She wants it all.
And can you tell the court to what extent you've relied on Mr. Rob's monthly
Cash
alimony payment?
Well, I'm, I don't, not married. I'm
100%.
single, and so every
Single cream.
source of income is used to pay bills, to make a mortgage payment. And our son actually was still living with me and just moved out in August. So, I still provide. He comes for lunch and dinner mostly. I pay his phone bill still.
No.
I struggle. Luckily, I have taken money out of my 401k to still make ends meet.
Paying his phone bill, huh?
I'm saying he has about
$2,700 a month.
$1,000 in his 401k, and he wants to know how much is in yours, which I guess is a fair question. How
Right.
much is in your 401k?
I have about 365.
Okay, is that the money that you
Dollars or thousand?
Someday?
It is.
And I think you've indicated if you had to dip into your 401k to make ends meet.
I have had to do that for the last 2 years. Yes.
364,000?
Has Mr. Rob contacted you in the past to talk about the potentially reducing the amount of spousal support?
No.
Now, my calculations seem to suggest that he's paid 7 years of the 9 years of support. Is that about correct?
Oh, well, it was 6 years in September, so 6.5.
He's been paid forever.
So if you were to calculate the total amount that he would have normally been obligated to pay, it's probably less than $30,000. Would you be adverse to him paying you out of his 401k just to meet his obligations?
No.
Are you suggesting that as a?
No, I'll take the money no matter how it comes. If he sells a kidney, 401k.
Obligated himself to pay. You wouldn't be opposed to the court ordering him to dip into some other asset he had to meet that obligation?
No.
Here's my question. How did you get $364,000 into her 401k?
Obligations without these alimony payments?
Working in cosmetology.
Making $16,000 a year.
I had to dip into my 401k just to make up for the loss of income that I have had.
One of the questions I asked Mr. Rob had to do with whether or not.
Who's in the room with Mr. Rob, you think?
I know. I want to know. I want to see the hot young blonde. She's about 23, I think.
Disclose and report your alimony payments as income. Have you had to do that?
I have. I've had to claim it as income, yes.
As in cosmetology?
You no longer have that obligation?
JG?
It was my
She just claimed she made
understanding
$16,000 a
any
year.
type of modification to the spousal support that'll uncap the
Yeah, if you're taking out big chunks, you're paying
me having
penalties,
to
right?
claim it as taxable.
And Mr. Rob has been able to deduct for the greater part of his obligation, those
guessing
payments
him.
he's made to you. Is that
Mm.
your
Correct,
understanding as well?
yes.
Good point.
Um,
I could live the rest of my life, I think, on $360,000. By the way, I'm pretty sure.
Request to reduce his spousal support.
What do you plan on dying next month, Creed?
I guess more than half.
You have a life expectancy is really short.
And is it your testimony
No, I could live on that the rest of my life.
on a monthly basis to meet your obligation?
You don't think so?
Yes, I do.
Using that, I
I have no other questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr.
Make
Rob.
money with
Any other
money?
Questions of Ms. Rob?
Yes, one in particular on her expense sheet. I'm not sure if that's one from Chester Szymanski, but she listed tree removal at $2,200.
I apologize, Mr. Rob and Ms. Rob. I've got somebody calling, and that sometimes happens, so give me a moment to make sure to get this
Okay.
person off.
Oh, phone call.
This is Judge Hunter, and we're on the open court record. Who do I have calling?
Hey, this is Mikey. This is Mikey. Can you hear me?
Again, this is Judge Hunter. We're on the open court record. Who do I have calling?
Yes, sir. Checking on your warranty on your vehicle, your extended warranty.
Your Honor. This is Mikey.
No, loud. I'm saying I'd go. There's a lot of ways to go and make money with that. I'm not talking about sitting in a bank by any chance.
List of monthly expenses. She has tree removal at $2,200 and a family cottage at $1,000. And I'm trying to determine
family cottage
that you can't spend $2,200 a month to remove trees. Is that an annual, Karen?
It was an expense, a yearly expense.
Karen,
does that continue year to year?
No, it was a
Yeah.
deduction. It
You
was
said
a
yearly expense. That means yearly.
deduction to have trees removed before they fell on the house.
Okay. The family cottage at $1,000, is that a monthly or an annual?
No, it's not a monthly, it's a yearly deduction.
She's like, you son of a bitch.
That will continue the trees, we don't know. So you're only working 15 to 20 hours a week. What prevents you from seeking other employment?
There you go.
I'm not, right now, I'm trying to work as much as I can, and it varies between 20 and actually, it just depends on clients and when they can get scheduled.
Well, loud. Yeah,
I understand.
When
Yeah.
I get a call. So
I understand.
Some weeks I luckily will have 25 to 30 hours, but some weeks I don't. So
Well, I'm just wondering if you had sought another job to supplement your income and come close to a full-time job.
Look at her face. She don't like that.
maybe crossed my mind, but
It might have, but it didn't cross my
I
purse yet.
haven't had to make that decision yet.
Not as long as I got you to sponge off.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Oh, come on, more.
So
Ms. Rob, I'm looking at your proposed exhibit B. On the top of it, it says fixed
There's a way her son isn't like 40 years old.
And I know that you probably,
She
is
paid
it
his
fair for me
cell
to
phone bill.
They were saying like at 38 or something. Like that.
Yes.
And I'm asking Miss Rob at this point. Miss Rob, in terms of the all of those different expenses, I also had questions about family cottage. Now you've said that's a $1,000 per year expense for
Per
you.
year expense, yes, it is.
So
It act-
that's $83 a month. If you paid it in a month, you probably pay it one lump sum. Is that right?
Yeah, actually, I think because of expenses going up, it's actually probably going to go up to 1,200 for the year. So
Family
it would be-
cottage. There's no family anymore.
Thank you. And then can you tell me about your auto repair that you have calculated $800 a month?
I had to have
What?
brakes and caliber. No, that's not a month. That was just an auto repair.
That's a one-time.
For my-
Sometime recently, is that what you're saying?
Yes, I just had that done 2 months
Do
ago.
you put them down on paper and hope that they don't notice it and it squeezes through as an expense per monthly?
Monthly expense.
Tree removal.
That's probably true.
That was a one-time expenditure. Was that sometime recently as well?
That was, yes, just in the fall.
So if I take out the 2,200 tree removal and the 800 auto repair, that's taking it off 3,000. My calculation got me to about $1,960 per month when I include $100 per month for the family cottage. Does that sound about right to you? Around
But that was some, I don't know, did I include even food and?
My food. He needs to pay for my
No,
food.
it is
Yeah, it's
just
Crystal.
me. Like
My
I
makeup.
said, my son comes a lot. I'm pretty frugal, so.
What's that got to do with him that his son is coming to eat dinner?
Are you currently seeking or do you have the availability?
Food stamps.
Versus, I'm sorry.
Can you imagine what a frugal meal looks like to her?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm still single,
Unlike him.
I will get it, but I don't think I get the benefit of my ex-husband, but I think he has to retire first before I get that benefit.
In other words, at least your understanding is you cannot right now get it.
Well, I think for me to take it on my own because of the time frame that I've worked over these years, I think my benefits like $760 without his.
But yet she had $300 plus $1,000 in 401k.
Wait until Mr.
Right.
Rob takes Social Security, your amount would be.
You get the feeling she's sitting at her house right now,
I would get, yes.
or is
I
it
would
his
get
law
more,
office?
For sure.
I like to think it's the law office. Especially with those nice books behind him.
I think with the extra benefit I'll get, I think the amount's going to be about 1350.
That's under the
If I
weekly
wait.
expenses.
And then similar to the questions I asked Mr. Rob, and just to clarify, I think I know exactly what you mean, because I wouldn't expect that a 401k that you have has $365, but when you said 365, you meant $365,000.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Let's clarify that.
Do you have to pay penalties on the times in the last 2 years that you said you dipped into that account? Have you had to pay penalties?
No, because I'm over 59 and a half.
Wow. No penalties, boys.
Are you still paying taxes on those?
I do have to pay tax on it, yes.
And is that just based upon your current tax bracket?
Right. Yes.
Burp. God bless.
Coming in hot. 96 of you here. Please like and subscribe if you would. If you like this kind of
When the
thing.
divorce judgment was entered, do you recall, generally speaking, how much income you were earning?
$12 a month.
It
She's
was
the
actually
breadwinner.
quite a bit more, because I had sought out a mortgage that I took out in my name only. And I want to think actually it was between 35 and 45.
1,000 a year.
Yeah, 1,000 a year, yes.
And was that at the same type of business you're in?
Yes, it was. Yes.
Was that based upon how many hours working typically?
I was working, I've always, ever since I've been, the kids were out of school and
BMW,
our youngest
Audi,
graduated in 15.
Mercedes,
I
Range
upped my
Rover, Land Rover,
hours,
any of those.
So, it was 25 to 35 hours a week.
25 to 30 hours a week, and she was making 40 grand.
So the amount that you provided in Exhibit C,
Years ago, though.
the estimated monthly amount, is it accurate that you've not yet started withdrawing
I would
money
too.
from that shallow pension?
Right. I'm just getting the paperwork going on that.
Could be.
Dipping into his pension.
Generally expect that it's going to be somewhere around that $469 per month.
Yes.
And do you intend to relatively soon start
Yes.
withdrawing? And then what amount are you able to withdraw? Or let me ask it this way: of the 401k that you said, the $368,000, does that include all
That's a nice
401ks or other retirement assets that you
That's
have?
all I have. That's all I have is
Meaning
that.
that also includes that shell 401k that you were provided during the judgment?
No, that's separate.
She has a shell for
Yeah, 365 is the money, the growth in the money from we split at the divorce, in the divorce settlement. And then I will get that 469 less tax amount.
And there's
So
another
which
one
will
with
be
469 in it.
From the Shell pension.
So there's a Shell pension, 469.
I can hopefully clarify. Do you have
Her
an
401k, 365.
Shell 401k, or was that included in the other money that you're talking
Baby.
The money that I've been withdrawing from, that amount is 365,000. And then the
Shell 401k.
no.
It's the 401k.
Yes,
You're
yes,
sharing.
yes. That is the 401k,
I'm confused.
Shell pension.
not the Shell.
There's a
pension.
Shell
pension.
pension that she wants to draw from.
That's where I got hung up.
Didn't she say that his 401 is like almost depleted though?
Seems like it.
Right now,
No, I have nothing other than
how
stuff.
much income did you earn? You said you earned unemployment for the first time. Give me an estimate of how much you took in unemployment. During
34
the
years,
last 2 years.
I think.
Like 20,000, I think I got.
It's a lot of unemployment.
And did you also receive stimulus monies?
I did get the stimulus.
Just whatever the maximum
Right.
was to receive.
Yes.
She hated that question about the second job, didn't she?
Mm.
I love it.
Thank you. Did the court's questions raise any additional questions for you, Mr. Rob?
Yes, I still
Yeah,
haven't heard Karen say if she intends to seek.
That might be the pension,
second
469 a
job?
month.
I've been forthright, working 40 plus hours since our divorce. And I think she has an opportunity. There's a lot of jobs out there. However, I can't make her choices up.
I love it. I'm sorry.
So I'm going to leave it at that.
Lazy. Lazy.
I have no more questions for her.
Okay.
That was not a question. You just want to make a comment.
He's taking the high road, kinda,
Yes, just a few.
because I can tell he wants to
Everyone,
say a
you
lot.
told us your age. How is your health?
I'm actually having some shoulder
Oh
issues myself.
God, I'll be RP.
And just
She's
in the
coming
process
reeling them in, bud.
You want to stay with this, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
get some answers on that.
So Mr. Rob is suggesting to the court that you have the ability to seek a second job to supplement your income as a stylist. If you were to somehow obtain a second job, would that not necessarily take you away from your primary occupation?
For sure. Yes.
Do you now currently work 7 days a week, depending on the availability of customers?
I'm working 5 days for sure, sometimes Saturday. It just depends on
Poor thing.
clients and their needs.
Thank you, Judge. I have no other questions.
Great. Thank you. Did you have any additional witnesses?
He does. It really does.
No, Judge, we do not.
All right. Then at this point, I'm going to allow some closing argument. Mr. Rob, I intend to allow Mr. Blumberg to develop his argument first. Then I'll give you a moment if you need to gather your thoughts, and then I'll hear your argument to close. But I want to just remind you, when I say closing argument, attorneys are very familiar with that. That's their last opportunity to kind of sum up what the evidence is and how they think I ought to interpret it.
This ought to be bad.
That's what I'll do is I'll tell you how I interpret the evidence and the rules.
Larry Cobb, everybody.
But the closing argument you need to understand is just that it's your summation of the evidence. It's not new evidence. So whatever you tell me, it's going to be based upon how you think I should interpret the evidence.
How do you guys think this is going to pan out for Mr. Rob?
It does. Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Blumberg, I know that you wanted to preserve for the record and have the court decide independently whether or not the matter is modifiable. So I want you to cover that now, and then what other argument you have.
Thank you.
Elliot might be.
Judge, the judgment of divorce clearly on its face talks about modifiable spousal support. It also talks about the deductibility and the imputation of income for both the payor and the payee. I suggest to the court that those are really components of a periodic spousal support obligation. Those do not exist today.
Thank you, Edwin.
And I suggest to the court, while there is language in the judgment that talks about modifiability of the support obligation, really what we have is a situation of alimony and gross. Alimony and gross, by its very definition, is non-modifiable. Because my client or Mr. Rob no longer has the ability to deduct on his tax return his spousal support payments, and Ms. Robb doesn't have the obligation to impute that as income, that the critical elements of periodic spousal support don't exist anymore.
Yeah, he's in trouble.
So I think that it is a reasonable conclusion that one can draw that while the
an increase in her
viability,
spousal support.
the components of periodic alimony don't exist anymore. And I would suggest, by way of example to the court, if the parties by their agreement waive spousal support and claims that it's forever barred, that issue also would be subject to modification if there were a change of circumstance, but that is not the law. Mr. Robb's, strike that, getting back to what the statute provides, and Mr. Robb has not provided the court with any legal authority for the relief that he's seeking today. But you and I both know that there is a statute that allows the court to modify spousal support, MCL 552.28. And if the court reviews that statute, there isn't any language within that statutory provision that talks about a change in circumstance. It's curious to me that the legislature specifically doesn't put that language in there, and yet Mr. Robb comes before the court today seeking a modification, alleging this change in circumstance. The fact of the matter is that Mr. Robb's 401k today has the same amount of money in it as it did, probably more today than it had at the time of the judgment of divorce. There is no change in circumstance. The fact that his employment that he is now taking on provides him less money on a monthly basis. The fact is he still has a reservoir of funds from which he can meet his monthly support obligation. Mr. Robb consented to the judgment that specifically required him to pay the amount of $1,149 per month for a period of 9 years. He has done that for a little bit short of 7 years. His financial situation is not substantially different from what it was at the time of the judgment.
A lot less than I thought.
Conversely, my client's situation is significantly worse. Because of COVID, her income is down to a fairly modest amount. She's working as long as she can, as long as customers can come in. She's 61 years old, isn't able to collect Social Security. Mr. Robb clearly is, and he's indicated to the court that that would be an additional at least $2,000 a month that would be available to him to help meet his ongoing spousal support obligation. It's not clear to me, Your Honor, whether this court has a requirement to even go through the factors that exist on a spousal support claim. McLean versus McLean at 108 Mishap 166 lays out 11 factors for the court to decide when deciding to award spousal support. I'm not sure that the court is required to go through that today. I think the court can simply determine that there has been no substantial change in regard to Mr. Robb's situation, and that we would request the court to deny any reduction in support. I would add, though, in conclusion, if the court was inclined to reduce the amount of his spousal support obligation,
so he wants it brought down.
He would ask the court to then extend the length of time by which for him to meet his obligation that was agreed to under the original judgment of.
I don't know what to think about this one.
We don't think that Mr. Robb has met his burden, and we would ask the court to deny.
I'd love to see who's off camera though.
$1,000 a month at the level that I'm sure they were living at is nothing. But
did you hear your client's testimony differently in terms of Social Security? Because I thought she indicated she could collect now, but it would be a lesser amount than if she waited until Mr. Robb retired.
He's paid her $87,360.
Start to collect Social Security. She's 61 right now.
Thank you for that first clarification. Secondarily, is it your understanding or argument that if Mr. Robb started collecting Social Security, that he would then not be able to work full time?
No, that's absolutely not true. I'm collecting Social Security. I'm collecting Social Security, and I
see that
more than full time.
Mr. Robb.
All right, thank you for that clarification. And then finally, your legal argument that started the day and ended or started your oral argument was that you think I should determine that this is non-modifiable because it has things in it, the judgment, regarding the tax benefits.
We have to remember she is feeding the son.
For your client. Do you have any case law or statute?
Modest.
Sloppy
Modest.
Joes.
I can lead the court to certainly the cases that talk about what constitutes alimony and gross. Again, alimony and gross conceptually is a lump sum payment in lieu of a property settlement or a part of a property settlement, but it can be paid in periodic payments. Periodic payments are something that you normally see in periodic spousal support. What's in place at the time
They
of
had
the
to have sold
judgment,
some stuff,
I think
right?
can be
So she had to get
arguable.
money from
It's
that.
arguably periodic alimony.
And she got this
My argument is that
$365,000
part of the
401k.
components
It's not like she was left
alimony
high
and
and
gross
dry here.
is the deductibility of the payments and the imputation of income to the recipient. Those two critical components don't exist currently. And since the change in the law in 2018 or 19, I haven't seen any cases that address that on point. I could perhaps provide the court with some legal authority for the position.
And then the last point of legal questioning that I had is you told me that if the parties waived spousal support, and I made a finding that spousal support was forever barred, you believe that that provision is subject to modification with change of circumstances?
I don't know. That's the legal issue. I mean, I've done lots of research, and the court generally takes the position a waiver is a waiver, and you can never change it. The court
Your waiver
advises the clients. You understand that if you're waiving spousal support, you can never come back again. But that's probably the state of the law. But how is that any different than the current situation? Any modification, I mean, a judgment is in this case is the agreement of the parties. The agreement was this is what he's going to pay over this number of years.
9 years.
He now wants to seek a change to that. My question is,
paid it for
the statute doesn't talk about change in circumstance. The statute, I mean, it would appear to me that you need to seek relief from the judgment. The judgment is what controls. Generally, this is a final judgment. There's language in there that says this is the final judgment and closes the case. Certainly, post-judgment motions can be brought, custody can be changed, but the agreement of the parties is the agreement of the parties. The agreement was he's paying 9 years of spousal support at $1,149 per month.
$1,149 a month.
Thank you.
Is what we're trying to get an increase to,
Rob,
I'm
you have
guessing?
any closing argument that you wanted to offer on behalf of yourself for your motion?
Yes, Your Honor. And this is, I was never made aware by my legal counsel at the time of divorce or Karen's that this was a gross amount of dollars I was to pay out over 9 years. I understood it simply as $1,149 a month. And I had read that modifiable a long time ago because you never know what's going to happen with your career, whether it's your fault or just the economy or the energy sector. It appears that Karen and I both have approximately the same amount of money in the Fidelity 401k. We both can draw on the Shell pension. Karen will be eligible for Social Security August 26th, I think, is her birthday.
I was married to her for 34 years. I can't remember, Your Honor.
And that, in my mind, it's not fair that I need to not struggle. I don't want to put it as struggle, that I tap into our resources that were fairly divided at the time of divorce. My situation has changed as drastically as Karen dealing with COVID. And
You should cry.
difference with her her
I heard
customers
that's good.
coming not as frequent. I, in the same way, dealt with that by not being able to seek a high-paying energy job. The conceptual part of this is
I have your weapon.
to put it fairly, I think it's fair. And that's all I have.
He said, leave it be, baby.
Take a
Leave it
moment.
be.
I'm gonna stay up here on the record, and I'm going to stay really here in the chair. and just go back through my notes for just a moment, and then I'll make my findings.
Good call, Nancy.
Everyone, I'll make sure and speak up before I'm ready to start those findings. But again, I'm just going to keep the recording going because I do not think it's going to take very long.
You gotta do some Mikey math and he'll figure it out. All right, so everything I'm understanding, they split. That's where she got her 365 in 401k. She split it with him. He's got about 400,000 in his. They both have the Shell pension. I thought Shell pension meant something like it was in a shelter. No, he worked for Shell.
Yeah.
The gas company. He was in
Right.
the energy sector.
Like he just said about getting a high paying energy job. So everything was split pretty evenly.
7 years ago.
7 years ago. He's into this 1,000 something for 9 years. Gosh, it's amazing that can go on so many years.
Yeah. Now he hasn't been married to this woman forever. And now she wants more money because of her change of situation, which I'm guessing wasn't the paperwork. Like he said, his lawyer didn't say, hey, bud, if something changes on her and she can come at you for some more money. And that's what she's doing now. And he'll have to tap into his 401k to pay her, which she said she does not mind that at all.
Man, that is
no issue raking my dude over the coals.
Yeah, this is pretty crazy. And he's a hell of a lawyer. You can tell she's paid a good bit to Elliot Blumberg.
He looks like if I could paint his face, he'd be one of the killer clowns from outer space. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that movie. It's a stretch, but he could definitely be one of them.
And yeah, I get it. Listen, if you're living in by the way, why is the cottage still in both of their names? How does that work?
Must be because
proposition that the law requires the party who is moving or making a motion or request to modify must meet the burden of demonstrating new facts or changed circumstances arising since the judgment of divorce that justify a modification. That language, notably as argued by Mr. Blumberg, is not contained within the body of MCL 552.28, which is entitled Revision and Alteration of Judgments for Alimony or Other Allowances or Appointment of Trustees or Subsequent Judgments. But that petition, that statutory section rather, specifically indicates that the court may revise and alter the judgment respecting the amount or payment of alimony or allowance, and the court can make any judgment respecting any of the matters that the court might have made in the original action. The case law, which is interpreted 552.28, is as clear as the statutory language. Meaning the statute is clear that the court can modify spousal support. The statute is then referenced by case law in the state of Michigan. In the case of Kraus versus Kraus, 140 Mishap 234, a 1985 case, specifically found just what I noted a minute ago. A modification of an alimony award must be based upon new facts or changed circumstances.
All right, look at the attorney.
The judgment of divorce that justify the modification. And the modification.
Sorry, why did you do that?
Yeah.
The evidence must appear in the record, and that's Graybill versus Graybill 99 Mishap 30, a 1980 case. Higher courts will review my determination de novo, which means anew, and they'll determine whether or not I applied the law correctly and applied the facts correctly.
What about the yearly trees?
So when I look at
so many stupid expenses.
There's a lot that I think is important. Number one, I credit the testimony of both Mr. Rob and Ms. Rob, meaning both of you I found to be fairly believable witnesses, and I say fairly, really believable witnesses. I don't really have any reason to dispute any of the allegations that have been made either way. I was certainly concerned in preparing for this hearing and reviewing a document which purported to claim, at least again, the way I saw it, purported to state that, for example, Ms. Rob had $2,200 per month of costs for tree removal or $1,000 per month on a cottage while claiming to earn $7,500 per month. That concern by the court was alleviated because, of course, Ms. Rob testified that that information was based, they were one-time expenses, the $100 a month for auto expenses, the $2,200 for tree removal, and $1,000 per year under her clarified testimony at hearing. Meaning I accept that difference and I credit the testimony. There's certainly ongoing
expenses. You had $7,000 a month in income
from Ms. Rob's list was just about $2,000 per month. I would note that Ms. Robb makes less than that when I consider her record testimony. And that would be the $7,500 per at least a 21 year, plus the approximate $5,000 per year on shell pension, $421 per month, times 12, with 12 months in a year is $5,052. That gets Ms. Robb to about $22,000 in income per year. Of course, if you have $2,000 per month expenses, that's $24,000 per year, which means she does not earn enough income to get to that amount. I also note that Ms. Robb's testimony was not altogether clear in terms of the expenditures.
Is there any way her son didn't do that tree trimming?
Is the specific amounts
Yeah, right.
Ms. Robb has calculated as expenditures of the business. Frankly, I'm not considering the document itself. Obviously, it's hearsay. It's been prepared by somebody else in advance of this hearing. It wasn't offered as an exhibit, but I am considering Ms. Robb's testimony. But within that document, for example, with gross total income of $16,744, there's a suggestion that laundry was $400 and the telephone was $1,800 and that travel was $1,400. Whether or not from an accounting standpoint it's appropriate to include those expenditures as business expenses is not.
It's very expensive.
The court's question is whether or not when somebody makes $16,744 as gross income, it would be appropriate to travel and spend $1,400 per year on travel or $1,800 per month on a
She's got some
telephone.
crazy expenses.
Yeah.
Expenses that were listed by Ms. Robb of the phone at $200 per month. That is astronomical. I mean, I take it, and I didn't hear clarification on this point. I take it to be Ms. Robb's.
Might be time to lay off the vacations.
That she pays almost $350 per month for a telephone. If that's accurate, $350 a month per telephone cost, that would be about half of her total income when you consider the net profit under Mr. Stein's calculations. If that's the case, obviously, as Mr. Robb argued,
Does she break a phone every week?
there needs to be change in how much expenditures are going out from Ms. Robb. But I note that based
Oh,
on
he just said that really nice. Did you hear that?
Yeah, you need to slow your roll, Miss Robb.
34,000 she thought at the time of the entry of the judgment.
Hey, Lana.
Glad you came by.
Based on her testimony that I credited, it's about $22,000. I also credit Mr. Robb's testimony. His income was at the time of the divorce judgment $80,000. Now it's $45,000. In other words, the total loss of income, and I said $22,000.
Good big answer.
For Ms. Robb, that's not accurate. $12,500 income, $7,500 for, as calculated, that she testified by her accountant.
Look at the eye roll on Mr. Robb.
Yeah.
$16,744 was gross income. In any event, her testimony was now $12,500 total, which was $22,000 less than she testified she earned at the time the marriage was
mind-blowing.
There's been a loss of income significantly to Mr. Robb. His testimony was $80,000 income approximately at the time of the entry of the judgment, and now $45,000, which results in a loss of $35,000. In other words, from the time of the entry of the judgment of divorce, there's been a significant change in circumstances for each, Mr. Robb and Miss Robb.
You got to remember, she says she pays for the son's cell phone too.
Miss Robb is $22,000 less per year. That's based upon the figures that were testified to, and again, I don't have any reason to dispute any of the factual information. Any cross-examination.
Even if you have like two of the newest iPhones and you're paying them off, still $350 is a lot. Now his woman's right next to him for sure.
Of retirement assets, I'm glad that both Mr. Robb and Miss Robb have significant savings in the retirement accounts. That's a credit and a benefit to them. But that's something that the court does not necessarily take into account yet. It's certainly income that's available, but it's income that was already taken into account and divided at the time of the divorce. Meaning Mr. Robb got the 50% of the Shell 401k, 53% or whatever it was of the Shell 401, whatever the circumstances were, it stated clearly in the divorce judgment the court's reviewed. That money was already in possession of the parties and has been throughout. My guess is that since the entry of the judgment of divorce, that amount has fluctuated, probably has grown at times, probably in the last 3 months has dropped significantly for each Mr. Robb and Miss Robb. Case law is relatively clear in the state of Michigan that courts should not require parties paying spousal support to invade their 401ks or retirement savings in order to pay, nor should the court require recipients of spousal support or other parties to invade their retirement accounts in order to pay those expenses. So the argument applies in the court's view with equal weight to each. Continue paying the amount in the judgment that was a consent judgment. He's going to have to, based on his testimony and the court's crediting that testimony, he's going to have to dip into or otherwise dissipate some of his retirement assets. If, on the other hand, I reduce spousal support at all, it appears clear
Is that a you?
based on Ms. Rob's testimony, she
Very big one.
invade her retirement assets. In either situation, therefore, the court finds that one of the two will happen. I'll either force one party or the other or both to potentially invade the retirement assets which were already divided. The issue with the significant amount of money that's available in Social Security is something that also matters to the court, meaning I do accept the testimony, Mr. Rob, that you could earn right now $2,000 per month in Social Security.
Ooh.
You could earn more if you wait. And so, of course, that's a personal decision that has to be made. You could earn more by waiting, and that makes sense to wait. But if you need the money so that you don't have to invade retirement assets, it's there for you if you just make the decision. I don't mean to suggest that's an easy decision, but it's one that can be made. Similarly, the testimony I heard, and I
need to give Mr. Rob a break over here.
That I know that Ms. Rob indicated she could earn approximately $700 per month in Social Security, $760 she thought if it was only based on her income. But if she waited, it would be almost double to about $1,300.
Like, I get that, her waiting. I understand that.
He definitely needs to wait. If his is going to go up substantially and he's already could get $2,000 a month, he needs to wait.
Based on her age, very soon, that's going to be, again, another change circumstance that Ms. Rob will have that additional income available, which would be a significant change as well. So there will be significant changes to each Mr. Rob and Ms. Rob into the future. There has been significant changes since the entry of the judgment. And in terms of the argument that's offered by Mr. Blumberg, the judgment language is controlling and the judgment language is clear and it's unambiguous. This amount is modifiable. To the extent that there's an argument, and it seems to be agreed upon by Mr. Rob and Ms. Rob, that any change in the spousal support order going forward will now affect how they get to get the benefits that they got under the judgment. To any suggestion that that means it's a alimony in gross, I find unavailing. It's not supported by case law that I'm aware of, and it hasn't been cited before the hearing. I understand the logical argument you're making, Mr. Blumberg, but I don't find it to be I don't find it to overweigh what is clearly in the judgment of divorce. The federal husband shall provide modifiable spousal support. The word and the fact that that word is included, I can't ignore. I can't treat it as surplusage. It's an important word. Modifiable spousal support is different than non-modifiable. As to any argument that if I barred spousal support, that it would be able to be reopened upon a change in circumstance, I don't believe that's supported at all by Michigan law. My interpretation is that Michigan law is clear. If spousal support is barred, it's barred forever. It's non-modifiable. Just as if there was a word non-modifiable in the spousal support provision, I wouldn't have to analyze anything. A non-modifiable contract is non-modifiable. A modifiable one is if under the case law that's developed under the statute, if the moving party is
He is dragging this out.
So I do find that the burden has been met to show a substantial change in circumstances. The question is, from a mathematical standpoint, what that means.
I think Mr. Rob's got this.
Even when this motion was initially filed,
Oh no, I think he's about to lose.
Indicated, revealed.
He just said that.
Yeah, but who is he talking about? Who changed substantially? Her? Who took the claim? Him or her?
No, he said that he met the burden.
He was paying $1,149 per month. That approximated 0.175% of his salary or his income.
Oh, so we're about to drop it.
0.175% of his income in spousal support. He requested to pay now $366.67 per month in his written motion.
That's a huge cut.
would amount to $4,400.04 per year, which under the current salary as testified to by the defendant would approximate 0.096% of his salary. So in other words, the reason I bring those up is if it is as simple as a simple arithmetic calculation, Mr. Rob, I don't agree that your request is in line with proper arithmetic, because 0.175% of your current salary, which is about what you were paying under the prior order, would be 0.175 times your current salary of $45,760 would be about $8,000 per year, which is about double what you asked the court to pay, but it equals out to about $667.33 a month. So I note those figures not because the court views that it's just simply a mathematical calculation. I don't. I note that while there is certainly the requirement to engage in analysis of all the spousal support factors at the initial award standpoint, or accept an agreement by the parties, this court does not believe that upon a modification, I have to do the analysis of any of those prior requirements. And that's because the consent judgment, of course, is a contract between the parties. And while it provides that it's modifiable, it does not state anything further about the way the court can modify it. So when I look at all of those things, that about 0.175% of the defendant's salary that has been paid for 7 years has about 2.5 years, 6.5 years paid so far, about 2.5 years remaining. When I look at the fact that he has lost about $35,000 of income from his divorce at the date of the divorce judgment, and when I look at the fact that Ms. Rob has lost about $22,000 in income, due to all of the things that I find appropriate, age of the parties, the fact that each of you are dealing with injuries, which I credit, the fact that each of you are getting older and therefore it's harder to be able to be hired, as indicated by Mr. Rob. Nobody's going to say that outright, but I'm certain that it has an effect on
age discrimination.
So,
it's true.
Based on all of those things, I think some reduction of the spousal support award is warranted, based upon the fact that Mr. Rob clearly has met the burden in showing a change of circumstances. The only question is, what amount is warranted? Because again, while the payer lost more, the payee also lost the ability to earn the income that she had earned previously. So
that's the sticking point.
measured with Mr. Rob's inability to continue paying the amounts he paid previously is Ms. Rob's inability to continue earning the amounts she earned previously. I have to, in fairness, if I take into account one, take into account the other. And so I do. So when I look at all of that background, the total amount is $1,149 per month, and that will, at least by my general calculations, end in 2024. So about 30 months from now, September 1st of 2015, it was entered.
Jeez.
I think that would mean that it would end on 9/1 of 24, which would be about 30 months from right now. When I look at all of those factors, and then if I just did simple mathematics, I would go from 1,200, approximately 1,200, but 1,150, 1,149 per month, down to 667 per month, without taking into account the change in Ms. Rob's income and ability to earn. That means that the amount 667, simple mathematics, is not accurate in my mind, because it does not give the same benefit to Ms. Rob that I'm giving to Mr. Rob. And so I don't think it's appropriate to do exactly that. Instead, the court finds that a amount in between the simple mathematics of $667.33 a month and the current order of $1,149 per month is more appropriate. And so the court finds it appropriate, and that the defendant has met his burden in showing that there's been a change in circumstance to reduce the amount. The court will therefore reduce the amount of spousal support from $1,149 per month to $850 per month. That's a reduction of $300 per month, which I know is a significant reduction.
I want to see her face. Put her on camera.
I know that will be a significant
Where is
reduction
she?
in terms of the amount.
Bring her back.
But in balancing all of the background, a loss of income by both, the fact that now 7 years after the judgment of divorce, each are 7 years older, and therefore it's harder to secure income and harder to secure higher income, and based upon the fact that each party has over $300,000 and some in retirement assets and the ability to collect Social Security.
See, the judge thinks that's a lot too.
All of those things factor into, even though the court finds that there's a change, the change does not result in the need to make the change as drastically as was requested by Mr. Brown. So again, effective on the next month that
Yes.
spousal support is due, which will be effective April 1st. From April 1st, 2022 forward, the amount required is now $850 per month. Again, the time period for that will continue as ordered previously. Meaning I understand the argument that you brought with Mr. Bloomberg that if I'm
Man.
the amount, I should also extend the length of time for spousal support. But I don't view it as quite so simple. I know what you're offering and you're arguing on behalf of your client. But my view is that if I find a significant change in circumstances, I have to adopt from those change in circumstances to a change in the spousal support award. What I think is most equitable is what I've already calculated. The effective date, again, of April 1, 2022 going forward, and the reduction in the amount to $850 per month. Do you have any questions regarding the court's analysis, Mr. Blumberg?
No, Judge, I think I understand it. If you could perhaps clarify.
You lost.
The court is of the view that it has the authority to extend.
You blew it, Karen.
Even
You
though
blew it.
the judgment provides for a 9-year period if there were a change in circumstance?
I don't know the answer to that question. I have not researched the case law in that regard, but what I would suggest is that if I'm issuing an equitable decision, and if equity could be argued to change the amounts of a monthly amount, I don't know why the same argument couldn't be that the court couldn't adjust the length, meaning the length down or the length up. If there's changed circumstances, I can modify the award. I'm not saying it would always be equitable for me to do so. Again, I don't find it's equitable here to
Please don't make this guy pay longer.
I think an argument could be made that even the statutes I've already referenced would support the ability of the court to change it.
Okay, very good.
Do you have anything further you'd like to state for the appellate court record, Mr. Blumberg?
No, Judge, I think I understand the court's analysis. Thank you.
Mr. Rob, did you have anything, any questions regarding the court's?
Do it, Mr. Rob. Just
I do not. Thank you.
And did you have anything further you wanted to state for the record?
Bring your young girlfriend and hug her on camera.
let me see her.
Not at this time. Thank you.
So, Mr. Blumberg, although you're the only attorney, I'm not going to have you draft an order. I recognize this order is contrary to your client's position and your position. I'm going to draft an order that just simply indicates, for the reasons stated, and because the court find that the statutory burden was met by Mr. Rob, the amount will be reduced effective April 1st.
Rab, Mr. Rab.
The amount to $850 per month, and that the standard time period under the judgment, of course, will not change. Any objection to the court preparing that
Time
order?
to change cell
No,
phone plans.
I do not.
Any objection to me preparing that order, Mr. Rob?
No, sir.
All right, I'll get a copy of that to the clerk's office, and then as importantly to Mr. Blumberg and to you. Mr. Rob, is your address, Mr. Rob, still at PO Box 56 in Lake Leelanau?
That's correct.
That's what the copy said.
Lake, whatever. I kind of was thinking he might be at the cottage. Yeah, I was thinking that early on. Oh, I
So
think they
I'm
already
not,
cut it.
you know, so that people understand what my position was.
Hey, thank you guys. What a
These aren't held up.
what an awesome we got a case today.
It was brought my spirits up. I don't even care about the other stuff
That's
now
right.
that went on.
Now it was really cool having Law Talk with Mike coming on. The dogs will not get it. We threatened to kill a puppy if he did not come out. No, just kidding.
No.
That was completely unplanned, which was awesome. Love the way that worked out. Plus, we got to see some really good stuff in the beginning with Florida. With that one is a great one.
That is a
Love
good
that.
first appearances. Always be a favorite.
And that whole thing with the spousal stuff, I find that just absolutely crazy.
It is. I mean, having to pay somebody after you divorce them, it's like getting your life sentence commuted, but then they tell you got to come and show up for jail every weekend.
Right. Yeah, what a cool day. I hated that he just had a PO box because I wanted to look it up, but that makes sense. I'm pretty sure I just kind of had this feeling that kind of looked like a lake house a little bit that he was at. So I was wondering maybe if that's the case and why they kept it. But man, you imagine 7 years you've been divorced and you're still dealing with that.
Not even over like children, just spousal support.
Just
a lot of money
crazy.
involved. A lot of money.
That was a good day. Looks like something good with Cedric, but we got to go.
We got to go. Wild Warming Wednesday. That's right. All police matters, chases, arrests, that kind of thing with women Creed, I found a video I don't think you've ever seen. I know I've never seen it, of a ambulance chase that ends in a very strange way. So make sure you're
Okay.
there for that because it's a doozy. It's a doozy. All
And
right.
Nathan, yes and no. No, we're taking a break for 2 weeks from the OG show just because Knox apparently has something to do.
He's going on golf tour or something like that.
So, I don't know what he's doing. And Bishop is well, he
Working
has had
himself to death.
Yeah, he's just working himself to death. So taking a 2-week hiatus. We're gonna be on myself and Mikey at 8 p.m. East for We Got a Mystery.
That's right. It's kind of a combination of all the things you love, murder, mayhem, intrigue, crime and courts, chases, maybe, who knows, all kinds of stuff. So make sure you join us for that tonight. We got a mystery at 8 p.m. Eastern time, right here, wherever you're watching from right now. If you haven't already liked the video, go ahead.
Unless you're over on We Got a Case channel, which, by the way, we have that for you. If you don't like everything else we do on the channel, which I understand, We Got a Case. Only thing you're going to see on there is when we go live with We Got a Case. So just keep that in mind over on the YouTube. And, of course, the same goes with We Got a Chase. If you hate the case stuff, you got the chase. It's all,
Got a little bit of something for everybody.
And again, thank you so much to Law Talk with Mike. You guys go and check out his video. You'll enjoy it. Like I said, he's got a community, a family just like ours, which is pretty cool. And he's
a really good bunch of people. And what a great guy. I mean,
yeah, I knew he's super genuine. And yeah, Mikey and I both kind of fanboyed out there during that. So it's a lot of fun just to sit and watch a little bit of a case with him. So that was a lot of fun.
It was good times. Good times. All right, guys, until next time, like the video, love the video, subscribe if you haven't done so. And until then, remember.
Your court is adjourned. Do whatever the hell you want. We'll see you at 4:05 for Wild Woman Wednesday.